this word was first introduced by me some years ago. I started talking, I said we need to go. And I have established this entire concept in the chapter 1 of a book called IMEA, which was released here at NDIM in the October 2023. So the concept of renewability is not only for renewable energy, it is a concept that is all pervading. The basic idea is in the process of moving to sustainability, what we do, we generally maintain the same situation. For example, if you want a river to be not further polluted, then most of the times you will say, let us sustain whatever is done. That means it will be as polluted as it is now. We are not looking at improvement. What we are looking at is only the sustainability. The problem of this word is it is good, and at the same time it is a challenge for us. So I said, where do we go? So it comes from my years of experience in understanding management philosophy, and it goes back to the Ricardian era. David Ricardo was a great management expert who introduced the idea of comparative advantage several years ago, and it was later that the Porterian model came in, and I consider Porterian thing as a diversion, which actually made us forget what Ricardo did. So the comparative, because without comparison there is no competitiveness. It's a derivative. The comparative advantage is a derivative, is a superior or an umbrella of competitive advantage. So I don't believe that there is much competition. It is only a created model of competition. It's only a question of rather hyper competition, which Richard Devaney, my good friend, wrote that book, wonderful book. It is not being read in our institution, but it is Dartmouth, from where he taught this subject and wrote a book. In hyper competition, what happens? There are a lot of Me Too stuff. Every other thing looks similar, right? People do similar things. Like somebody opens a shop, 10 people will open same. Abhi dekhiye aap, Delhi dekhiye, Bombay dekhiye, and wherever you go, you will see bakeries opening. You will see too many bakeries opening, cake shops. Then you will suddenly see too many, saloons opening. So this is a model of hyper competition. And the first hyper competition advantage that I shared with Devaney was about the Panwala. I said this is the most agnostic hyper competition thing that you're not written in your book. And Devaney was really astounded when I met him 10 years ago. I said, you must put the Panwala in, because within the same street there will be two guys just sitting nearby, and you'll see both of them are doing rowing business, right? So this, I take it back, this whole thing, because his whole idea is more renewable than sustainable. Because they are doing, Hindi mein ek kahavat hai, sab bandar ke vyapari. So you go there, they will give you everything. They are keeping every damn thing there. And now they are also become very neutral, gender neutral, because women, men all reach there. So in Mumbai to main ye dekhta hu. So I think every city is making this transformation, and the trust of a Panwala is more than anybody else. You ask an address, it will be the Panwala whom you will ask. Bhai, ye kahan padega? You know, this thing, when you observe, this is an example of hyper competition, that in spite of so many of them there, the maximum trust a community has is on the nearby Panwala. So these are examples that in spite of all similar things, Me Too product, all of them are surviving and sustaining. So what is the next biggest idea? So I say, okay, looking at the entire economy from the small grassroots, which we can define it, okay, one method is to define as the Antyodaya, right, which is the rise of the last man. The other method is, I believe in Jayaprakash Narayan, Sarvodaya, is the rise of all. So without the rise of all, where is the rise of the common and rise of the last? So you can't put without the head the foot. You have to get the whole thing true. So rise of all needs a proper strategy, and this strategy is basically Ricardian. It says include everybody. It's only that you do something and I do something, and comparatively we analyze, and if a better method is there, then everybody follows it. So the comparative advantage part is more softer, more inclusive, more engaging, more cooperative. Now we have come to that world, and I have not understood how to link this. And renewability relates to a very fundamental English word. It is replenishability, or what is replenishable or not replenishable. So if we go to that source of replenishing, then we will understand renewability. Because the mother of that whole thing is that can this be replenishable or not? Like the definitions failed. So before we go to the lighting of the lamp, this last little tweak I give you. The definition of consumer and customer, right? What has happened? It's been taught and taught and taught. And where is the problem lying? It's a very simple problem, which most gurus have not understood. So they have been literally writing things which has ended up making a challenge for behavioral science also. So what is that? I made a simple idea. which comes from physics. Difference between a customer and a consumer. The customer uses the product. He or she uses the product. The consumer uses up the product. Yeah, so that difference between use and use up comes into picture. So the moment use up happens, you have this idea of replenishability. So the physics definition I made myself is, when a lot, volume or a quantum escapes to be replenished by the next volume, lot or quantum, and the process sustains, the word comes in, then we have what the idea we call as renewability. And in that renewability concept, we have the customer, the consumer in this case. So the difference between the consumer and the customer is, the customer does the same thing but in a slow way. Because how they define, they made a fast moving consumer good concept. But there is symmetry equilibrium in the world. So do we have an SMCG? There is none, right? We are not defining SMCG, slow moving consumer good. कोई chapter नहीं, कुछ नहीं है. So being an MBA myself, I felt scared कि ये मुझे FMCG क्यों दिखा रहे हैं. अतिशोक्तिपूर्ण वर्णन है. Fast moving consumer good. What is consumed will move fast. So why on top of that the word fast? Is it needed? It is simply a consumer good. So the moment they made this first blunder, they then defined other things ki white good and all that came. Uske baad kya hua? They did not understand the other side. So there are consumer good and customer goods. This is a very plain definition, right? So making life simple has been my way of doing things. All this stuff has been addressed in my first chapter of IMEA. So you can have it digitally, I can share it. I released it here. Some copies are here. So if you connect all of that, it is not only renewable energy. It is that we have to understand how renewability can be all pervading in our life. If we have to go beyond what we talked about system. So I'll engage some of the experts. Garg sahab bhi aa gaye. So we will understand what way we can take this further up. You know, so I'm throwing a gauntlet in front of everybody, and let's see how we proceed. And maybe schools in management, I'm happy that I'm part of the NDIM think, right, on the academic side. So they can start working with me on this subject. And this would be changing the way you deal with behavioral science. I'll give an example, a good example before we proceed. Take the washing machine. So in the washing machine, the housewife is the common agent, right? She is going to use the washing machine. And if a gent husband uses, chalo wo bhi maan lete hain, he will use. ठीक है? तो वो कैसे use करेंगे उसको? They will utilize and they will need a kind of a soap or detergent in it, you know. So the fellow who is buying it is either the customer, in this case, or a consumer. In one case, buying the washing machine is the customer, right? It's very clear. So customer good and the customer there, and will use the product, not use up the product. देखिए, तीनों बात आ गई. ठीक है, अब होगा washing machine के अंदर जो washing powder जा रहा है, उधर तो consumer हो गए, क्योंकि you have to replenish, and my definition comes into picture. Every volume, lot or quantum escapes to be replenished by the next volume, lot or quantum, and the process sustains. So that thing comes into the case of use of washing powder. So यहाँ पर तो consumer का definition आ गया. तो buyer behavior analysis will become damn simple through this definition, rather than any Harvard, Stanford, or any other method of definition that exists today. So people have to think, rethink, and challenge themselves. I have also read the same things. I still believe in marketing. My greatest, I would say, analysis and being a fan of that is Philip Kotler's last chapter is the most important chapter. That is called relationship marketing. Nothing can be done without relationship marketing. And you will not succeed in business, enterprise, life without relationship marketing. So what we have done today, we have sent it to the rump end. And we are sitting on the top with other ideas. Digital, जिसमें हम सबसे दूर कर रहे हैं. तो बात मत कर. Automated voice देंगे, AI डाल देंगे. तो इसलिए when it progresses, history ने कहा है, it's a fashion and fad. So people suddenly start realizing how important. Okay, I show you a, let's say, Halong Bay in Vietnam. I say virtually देख लो यार. तुम जाओ मत. तुम खुश हो जाओगे. You will try to say, I want to go to this place and experience it. Isn't it? So how would you do the virtual reality? You can give as much as possible, but nothing can match what you do going there. Still. So we can be enablers. Information technology is an enabler, but not a front-loading element, which we must all learn and we must all remember and continue to do physical work. All of us are, many of us are project people, many of us are developing things physically. So that is the reality. There's no depth to brick and mortar. It's only integrating easy access of brick and mortar and other systems using technology. So technology, I hope it doesn't overpower us. we should have a balance in this whole game. You know, so I can go on talking, but before that, I'll request that as we are Indians, let's go for the lighting of the lamp, all of us. We light the lamp and open the discussions up for the day. Can we proceed, sir? On our right.
Please come now. At least you can have a photograph. Everybody. Kunal sir, Praveen sir, Kumar sir, Rajput sir.
Everybody will be there. Photo we will have it.
Please give a big hand. Waiting for everybody. Please come together. You can also come, Praveen ji. Please, photo opportunity. Together you do. Baba sahab, please join kariye. आइए आइए. Garg sahab, please come. Garg sahab को बुलाओ.
सर आइए.
करो अच्छा लगे. Mitra sahab, Mitra, DP Goel, all three of you together.
Yes.
Let's give energy. Let the cameraman have their day. Kapil ji, please come. आप भी आइए. और सिद्धार्थ जी साहब will come. आप आइए, दोनों आइए ना. आइए, please come. All three BPCL. Please come. एक बैठा है वो.
एक सेकंड रुका है. ये पकड़. लेके ढूंढना पड़ेगा. हाँ बिल्कुल.
So may I first request Dr. D.P. Goel. D.P. Goel sahab. Dr. D.P. Goel is the former director of JP Group, and he completed the fastest hydro project in the country in 4 years flat called Karcham Wangtu. Please give a big hand. And also he was responsible with Shri Khazanchi, another mentor of ours. Unfortunately, his health is not good, so he is not able to come. But together they delivered the first big project beyond 1000 megawatt, which is the 1020 megawatt Tala hydroelectric project in Bhutan. So please give them a big hand, because Bhutan's economy, 12% of that economy is this project. So please give a big hand. Girls are back here, sir. Then I have to call one of the senior most amongst us, and a man who has achieved so much that that entire thing to describe here will be too less a time. But Dr. V.K. Garg, Dr. V.K. Garg has been the chairman of Power Finance Corporation, India's #1 power financing company, and also he had a stint with ONGC before that. He later on, in the last part of his career, has been a regulator in electricity. He was the chairman of the Joint Electricity Regulatory Commission. So such a wide repertoire of work that he has done, and body of work which remains and which will continue to shine. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your taking the time off today. Please give a, भाई हम energy sector वाले हैं, थोड़ी तालियां अच्छी बजा दो, है ना? Then I request my very good friend and someone whom our minds have matched, our visions are matching, and something that I tell you is thanks to another friend of ours who is not here. Jai Prakash Rao ji is not here, but the friend he introduced, and a person of caliber, an ex-BPCL. Bharat Petroleum is India's #2 company from all means, from the energy side, IOCL is #1. So we definitely look at them up. And who has opened up a wonderful company called SPG, which is now today going to be felicitated. We have V S Sehgal, chairman of the company and managing director, joining us on the dais. We have many of his colleagues over here, and I think it will be good if we can get them to raise their hands. So they are all sitting widespread all around. Chadha Saab is here and our other friends are around. So it's a full team of Dr. Sehgal and his people. And I believe that renewables will have a great opportunity with the alliance between REPA and SPG. So we have 3 companies. We have patron member AFCONS. Second one is Evonik. It's a German $13 billion enterprise which is into green technology. And we have SPG coming from the oil and gas to energy zone, where they will work on green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, etc., etc. So we hope that we can increase this number of patrons to about 10 quickly, if we see, because now we have a funding model. That's what we are going to discuss. We represent the largest private fund in the world of $1 trillion STG fund. It will be only invested in sustainable development goal projects, which includes renewable energy, and we have a list of projects which Tyagarajan can share with you. It could include green mass housing. It's not like only looking at renewable. It can be green mass housing. It can be a green port. It can be a green airport. It can be a road built with technology. For example, my FAST also has some hidden stuff. Like I was involved with slag built roads with Australians and Britishers who are bringing this slag built road technology to India. So I've written many articles and many work. My research is very strong. So finally we had a 1 kilometer road because Gadkari ji finally took that कि भाई हम 1 kilometer का road तो बनाते हैं. My view is hundreds of kilometers of road should be built with waste slag. So when you use the slag material from steel and then granulate it and use it, then you can build thousands of kilometers of roads in this country which will be sustainable and replenishable. So renewability comes into picture there, right? So an all-pervading concept, it is not only to power renewable energy, but to power green development and clean development. So that is the more broader idea of this. But since the word is renewable, replenishable, as I explained to you, so we will go towards that dimension, because every project should not only sustain, but it should enable doing future projects for our future generation in such a way that it sustains the environment but also improves the environment. So sustain ke baad next step is improving the environment. So we should make the planet better than before. So that should be the target rather than just sustaining at it. जितना डैमेज कर दिया चलो भाई ठीक है ये डैमेज चलेगी. अच्छा तुम कोक पीते रहो तो चलेगा. हम कहेंगे हम उसकी डैमेज कम कर देंगे. आपके लीवर को कम डैमेज करेगा. So how much we have to do this, or we should shift from such, and we should tell people that this is poison and your beverages should change. So I hope those 2 companies, Coke and Pepsi, and now Campa-Cola, which will come from Reliance, have to become responsible with their product. They cannot say we're killing a few people, now we will save a few people by putting some water plants, some water treatment. You can't do greenwashing. So this has been the philosophy, and my fund's philosophy is same. They're not interested in any greenwashing. They want physical work done. They're not interested in carbon credits, which you will see people talking about. They consider it as greenwashing. And I have been explaining this, why it is greenwashing to people. And the fund also agrees that you are right. I said we should not put any of our money or resources where people physically cannot have a system so that they can sustain and be part of it. See, you build a 4 megawatt rural village solar power plant. You will employ 25 people already. Why don't you think like that? Why do you want to do something कि भैया वो carbon credit ले लिया वो खत्म हो गया? This is the most, वो जिसको चाहिए, जिसको necessity है उसको मिलना चाहिए. ना कि people who are polluting the environment they'll buy the carbon credit and they will stop and they will still keep polluting. That is not the world we want here. So there is a lot of problem. All this COP28 and all have been good circuits of meeting each other and doing nothing. Today when I am sitting with you, our total investment in renewable energy and sustainability in the world order is only 600 to 700 billion, while the world GDP has crossed $105 trillion US. So even 10% of the GDP, that is $10 trillion, is not being invested. So my fund is बोलते हैं ना ऊँट के मुँह में जीरा. It is only 1 trillion which we are promising over 10 years, right? तो मेरा तो छोटा सा है, बड़ा नहीं है. 1 trillion बहुत बड़ा बोल रहे हैं, वो बड़ा है from the point of view Indian economy का. भाई 25% तो आप बात कर रहे हो. Indian economy reached 4 trillion, right? That looks good. But on the other side, if you see the world order, this is nothing. It's a global fund. There should be minimum 10 trillion per annum. पिछले 5 साल से होना चाहिए था. It should have been done 5 years ago. But what has happened today? We are investing $700 billion and patting our back and saying, oh, you promised what? America 2050, China 2060, India 2070. सबने अपने अपने हाथ कर दिए ऊपर कि हम अभी भी 2050 तक वही ऐश करेंगे जो अभी करिए. But they have de facto, de jure said to the world that we'll continue to pollute the planet at the same level and only do Mickey Mouse business. So this, I'm not happy. Professor Iyer is not happy. You can call me a rebel, new thinker, a straight-jacketed guy, going straight on them. I want investment to go to real stuff so that the world changes. Now my, next person is Sri R.N. Mishra. R.N. Mishra Saab is another stalwart. He actually built several hydro projects and was the chairman and managing director of the Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited. It is by far by rating the largest hydro project of the country operating, and it is the largest run of the river project also. So it is in Himachal Pradesh. Satluj Jal, of course, our guru Yogendra Prasad was the man who actually did all that. Another gentleman, Appa Rao, whom I'm not in touch with of late, he was also there. So this has been a wonderful experience to be with these kind of stalwarts, and we have them today for the discussion. I can't see the last name. Bawa Saab only. Our great Bawa Saab. GS Bawa Saab, where are you, sir? दिख नहीं रहे. हाँ, अरे आप वीडियोग्राफी कर रहे हो. Multi-purpose man, a multi-talented man, and GS Bawa Saab is actually the ex-general manager, he should have been ED for sure, of Airport Authority of India. He has seen several divisions and finally was the GM PR and communication for a body which needed badly the communication. Am I right, sir? And he is one of the most sought after airport consultant. Even media calls him to explain whenever लफड़ा होता है, प्रॉब्लम होती है, उनको बुला लेते हैं, एनर्जी मुझे बुला लेते हैं, ठीक है ना, आ रहे हैं ना सर. अब ये गिर गया तो आज आपको बुलाएंगे. So this is what it is. So Bawa Sahab has been very active, and we discuss a lot of things on how to bring this sustainable fund into existence and do something for the build-up of airports, green airports in India and elsewhere. So we also have some very good stalwarts. I think I should also talk about them in the audience. We have the founder, chairman, managing director of FabTech with us, Dr. Sanjeev Gandhi, and also Ashish Lakhani, the technical director. So they have been, it's a fabulous company, as I heard, in the area of manufacturing, basically, and it's a very difficult area. Manufacturing में survive करना ही एक issue है आज के दिन. But I tell you, that is the area. See, we need to actually focus. If our job stress has to come down, these guys should succeed. So if India's employability stress has, and a lot of oil and gas work, but I'm saying in general, I'm saying in manufacturing sector, if it progresses for India, even if it progresses by about 15-20% over what it is today, I'm telling you, we would be reducing the job employment stress in the country. Because ये एक बहुत important point है, because I come from originally manufacturing area, right? So I've seen this world in the past. So I've been mentored by none other than Dr. V. Krishnamurthy, chairman of BHL, and the founder chairman, literally. He was also the founder of Maruti Udyog. I wrote the biography and it was released here only. That also was released in February this year. And we have Supriya. I think she should introduce herself, and we'll also make her talk later. But she is in the area of absolutely sustainability. They are grassroots, I would say, implementers, and we need to see how in a future way, today my fund is looking at the big ones, but in the future way, create a micro situation so that people like her can lead and show the sustainability part in the grassroots economy. So you can say a little bit about yourself. Can you come here and just 1 minute I give you, because woman power is important. नहीं तो वो माइक दे दीजिए उनको.
Good afternoon, August gathering it is, and indeed it's my pleasure to get a chance to speak here. My name is Dr. Supriya Sharma, and I'm a business strategist by profession. So I help companies formulate and implement their business strategies, and gone are the days when business strategy was about cost leadership or product leadership. Today, if any company, regardless of the size, has to succeed, the only competitive advantage is sustainability. So if the company is sustainable in their decision-making processes, not only decision-making, but actually implementing those decisions, that is where we believe that those are the companies who are actually going to stay in the future. So I've had a chance to work in 4 continents, which is Asia, Africa, Europe, and North America. Majority of my experience lies in Africa and Europe. with the least being in Asia. So I have recently relocated to India, was lastly in Italy, and in the process of understanding the business scenario here. I have over 12 years of experience in strategy itself. So I was lucky enough to start my career not from the bottom, but from the top up. So I was directly working with the boards to understand how business operates at the time when I did not know what accounting and finance means and what marketing means. So I was lucky that way to get a helicopter view of the business from that standpoint. And later on, of course, I went on to become a published author of 12 books into leadership, and also a keynote speaker. I'm also a sustainability investor, so I help small businesses or startups with sustainable ideas or sustainability related ideas in mentoring and in funding as well. So that's a brief about me. Thank you for that patient listening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Supriya. Wonderful. We also have Dr. Tamal Mitra. Please, sir, your hand up. And a wonderful man, a very good friend of mine. And you know, he's working in a very unique area of, he says today that he is looking at providing your food in a sustainable way. You know, so that is Dr. Agro. He's the founder of Dr. Agro. It's a very interesting concept. Mitra Sahab, आप भी 2 minutes बता दीजिए what is Dr. Agro before we begin our discussion, because this is a very different dimension today, the people who have come. So I want them to just give a feel to our audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tamal Mitra. Yes, though I had experience in various fields, started my career in IT and then the other logistics and everything, but recently, almost for the last 10 years, I'm into the agro field. We started to develop our own organic fertilizers, and thereafter what it is found mostly during the COVID, what we had found that we are scarcity of food. And if you go to Google, YouTube, anywhere, for the last 10 years or more than that, the Western world has already started to secure their food. But India, being an agricultural country, we still imports our food. Even, I do not know how many of you know, our desi ghees are also getting imported.
Exactly.
From Africa and Middle East. Okay, so what we are planning is to, with a mission we are going into it called Secure Your Food. We all know what we actually eat at home. So that we can help you to secure, because the main thing is that whatever we are eating now, whatever the vegetables or the pulses we are eating, we all know that it is full of insecticides and pesticides. Even say few weeks back, the government itself said the basmati rice, it doesn't have any nutritional value right now. So it is to get into the nutritional value, there is enough of the people who can farm for you. So we are connecting with the farmers that they can farm for you only. So a concept called Secure Your Food, we are developing it. Obviously, and by the end of the year, I will be putting it in front of you, how we are doing it. It will be like a subscription model. Now, say, I think there are some milk companies who are doing some subscription model like that. So in that way, okay, fine. Just to give an example to you. So I think everybody is hearing of Delhi. Mostly the people are from Delhi. So now you go and buy potatoes, which is 50 rupees kg. But the potatoes coming from 200 kilometers away.
Huge carbon footprint.
Huge carbon footprint, and so there the price is much lower.
Yes.
Now if I have a direct contract to them, now the same thing is happening. It is not, I'm telling, maybe 10-15 years back it could have been something like kaise hoga. But we are doing it. We are buying food from Zomato. I am a Bengali. I am getting a Calcutta food through Zomato in 24 hours. Right. So when this system is there, so I can grow your potatoes out there naturally.
And get it to you.
साल में 300 किलो ही पोटैटो की ज़रूरत होते हैं घर में, उससे ऊपर नहीं है, more or less. दिन का 1 किलो पकड़ लो. So this is how it calculates. तो उसका आपको हर हफ्ते में 2 बार मैं डिलीवरी कर ही सकता हूँ. So this is what the Secure Your Food concept is all about. We are creating it because when it comes to food, it is not just potatoes. Here everybody has a different taste altogether. So we are planning it on that. And we are also trying to develop small farms across Delhi, NCR, within 100 kilometers. The reason behind it, by 2030, this NCR will be the second most populous country in the world, city in the world. And we don't have the ample of food. 50% of the population of India is fed by the government, and what they are actually fed with, we all know. So this is what we are doing, and we are trying organically to do it, but honestly speaking, 100% organic food cannot be provided right now. So but at least you can get a fresh food. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Putra Sahab. Thank you for the wonderful insight. We also have a very good friend, Mr. Kapil Sharma, who is engaged with us in some way. He's from Faridabad, my city, where I spent my childhood, and schooling, and he is involved with, helping us out with Mr. Rao in this area of financing and seeing whether more people benefit out of this. We have our regional director for MARKENOMY Foundation, and also a project of rural economy is with us, where we are trying to develop 5 model villages near Bengaluru, and very well situated. I can't explain the project more than that because we are all under NDNC, right? But I can broadly tell you the concept comes from my book, India Brandished, Superpowering Brand India, because model village economy has to be developed without depending on the external world. So there will be some connect with Mitra Saab's work in the later date when we go in, but we are trying to use energy as a dimension to decentralize the development of the rural economy. And a massive investment proposal of $400 million per village into 5 villages for this to be spent in 10 years. So it's not small, it's quite big. So we're working on a proposal to find whether we can get a grant to this whole idea. So let's hope we succeed. So he brought this, and we created and already signed up, and MOUs are done. So things are now at the stage of a sustainability report for this, right? So this is interesting. So, and the business case. So my sustainability report are not just like wishy-washy, they're going to be business case, right? With financials and all that. So the financial sustainability of the business is also important. So that's what so even if it's a charity, it should sustain. So that is what we are looking at. So business case is important for us. So we are working on that together. So he's not come for last 3-4 of our session, but took time to come from Lucknow. So you said from Delhi, sir, Lucknow से आए हैं, ठीक है? हमारे ये BPCL के सहगल साहब सब मुंबई से आए हैं. So यहाँ I think सब city के मिल जाएंगे आपको. So that, yeah, absolutely. हाँ, so हमारे पांडे साहब का नाम है कौशलेंद्र पांडे. So and then we have Mishra ji with him, his assistant, and together we are working on seeing whether we can also work on UP's big sugar industry to take that biomass out and create green energy out of it. So we have a plan to 300 plants का हमने एक concept बनाया हुआ अभी. अब it's basically concept stage पे है. But then if the government is open, just like in Maharashtra, it's become a market kind of a thing. Punjab is open, Haryana. If they open, I don't know, not 300, 3,000 plants. That will be the case for a state like Uttar Pradesh. More than 3,000 plants they can do with just sugarcane, cane sugars waste, and converting to biogas. That is the potential. Hanji, give him the mic. Give him the mic. हाँ जी बिल्कुल. Waste to energy
for Uttar Pradesh.
उस पे बोलिए.
Uttar Pradesh very soon.
Right, sir. Wonderful.
And one representative from that company is also present here.
Okay जी. Let's. Who is the guy?
Madam Mona Shah.
हाँ जी. So that's a woman power, huh?
तो
Good.
नहीं actually जो है the work is being guided by somebody else.
Okay, no issues.
But I called her to understand and move ahead.
Right. बहुत बढ़िया.
So I think जो है within a week this will start.
Pandey Saab background is he has been with the public sector enterprise, and then he has spent a lot of time with the government, and also he represents some bodies.
नहीं सर मैं बताता हूँ.
हाँ आप बताइए ना.
देखिए क्या है कि I have served more than 37 years in state government as well as central government.
Right.
But lastly I retired from the one of the central PSUs, NSDC, which works under the aegis of Ministry of Textile.
Right.
तो thereafter जो है my dear friend कुछ प्रस्ताव थे तो हमने कहा चलो मिलके कुछ अच्छा करते हैं. And I am hopeful कि things will come true in time to come.
Right, sir. So Pandey साहब के साथ बहुत कुछ करना है, but we are at this is like this fund is at the early curve. This fund is actually from July. in reality. Uske pehle tha, lekin it was not in this format. So right now we have funding model, we have the financing model, and financing means debt. So even World Bank cannot beat our debt conditions. Our upper limit is 2.2%, and if projects are attractive and interesting, we can bring down to 1.5%, no problem. So we have a very wide range of, so neither World Bank or any other development institution, whether it's BRICS Bank, AIIB Bank, any of these banks are incapable of matching our figures. And the second thing is, interesting thing is, those who are not in finance, there is always a country risk loaded onto you. If for India it is 3.5%, our fund doesn't load a country risk on you. And it does not want sovereign guarantee always. So these are the issues. So if you take debt concept is आप 70% debt लीजिए, 30% equity लाइए. हमारा concept है आप 100% debt में लीजिए, कोई फर्क नहीं. लेकिन condition ये कि 35% of the value of the debt you should be able to provide as a bank guarantee. So this is the clean development mechanism. कि कोई no beating the bush, no nothing. If you can't deliver 35, which is fair, right? 35% in guarantee terms, then the 100% of the money you can have. And I'm ready. So which bank is going to tell you this? So you can have anything at 2.2% and hedge your fund. Hedging maximum आपका hedging risk होगा, hedge करोगे तो 5 या 6% पड़ेगा. पर मैं आपको आज बताता हूँ, even Adani is not hedging its own borrowings. So if I tell you the truth of these corporates, none of them hedge. They are just sitting there. It's only unless government gives a danda to them, they will hedge. Otherwise nobody hedges. ठीक है? वो इसलिए नहीं hedge करते क्योंकि उनको guarantee है कि rupee may not cross beyond 100. क्योंकि वो कोई भी गवर्नमेंट नहीं अलाउ करेगी. If even today also, the kind of mechanism that's going on, RBI keeps interfering and ensuring कि rupee doesn't fall flat, right? So that's what they're doing. So if this is the case and good analysis is done, I don't know how much of hedging you need to do. So hedging also is an intelligent concept, and that's not our job. The hedging is the job of the seeker of the fund, not of Professor Ayers. They cannot bring hedging as a problem to me. I'm saying if the World Bank gives you an X amount of interest, you go with World Bank or you go with us. We're not a competitor to World Bank, but we are saying let World Bank match our terms. So this is an example of how we can change. It's called debt financing or loan financing or ECB. Either 3 languages can be used, and this is part of financing, not funding. So our funding is a grant model, and it needs you to have the strength to have 150 million because the single ticket is 2.4 billion. So early days for us. That we had for the last 1 year or plus, but I don't think anybody qualified. Or now we are seeing people attempting to qualify for that. So, do teen hai. This is the model we are working on in Bangalore, which has come from Pandey Sahab, is clearly ready with 150 million, and we are looking at grants. So that would be the first grant, and for rural economy. So it's going to be very interesting once we are able to finalize and deliver. It will change the way things happen in this country. It will be dependence on, we don't need to depend on government. It is like a free enterprise. And the whole project is being developed with full freedom for those people what they want to do. It is not a conditional financing. It's a unconditional, but what path you laid down, you have to execute. 10 साल आपको वो करना है जो आपने कहा. So this is what you said you must deliver. That is the only condition of this SDG fund. So this looks very sweet and very unbelievable story, but that's the truth, So another gentleman who is with us is BK Arora Saab from the company that first we did not have any funding, nothing. At that time, they started working with me to make some foray into Bhutan and into hydropower, and that is AFCONS. So he represents AFCONS. He's the Vice President, Business Development, based out of Delhi. The company is based out of Mumbai, and we are very friendly with AFCONS. We are trying to work out as a corporate, AFCONS is a top corporate. It's belonging to the Shapoorji Pallonji Group. We are trying to develop, they are into 24 countries with infrastructure development. We are trying to see if they do EPC. They have very clearly said they will not do any boot, nothing. So that becomes a kind of a block for them when they go. But the best quality of work is today, AFCONS even better than L&T. Atal Tunnel was done by them, in the, Rohtang Pass area. Anaram Barrage down south, they're done. Mumbai-Pune Expressway expansion they are doing. Samruddhi Mahamarg they are doing. The last big lab. A lot of work is being done. So I have said, we are your F. So we have a MOU kind of a thing at this juncture, and then we will proceed wherever they want. And it is not limited to India. So this whole thing is limited to the whole world. It's out there for 24 countries that are there. So we will start with 2 or 3, and this is one good example of what we are doing. And in biogas, we did the white paper. Evonik supported us in the white paper when Tarun Kapoor was the petroleum secretary that time. Now he is the advisor to the PM. So when Tarun was petroleum secretary, he called me and he said there is a problem in execution of biogas projects, and only about a dozen projects were listed. There was not much biogas being made in this country. So what we did is we prepared a white paper in 2020-21. Right during pandemic, I met him. All the oil companies were called. In fact, BPCL was also there. And nodal company was IOCL. So we started working on a white paper. That white paper became a model white paper called Satat Plus. And that is implemented. And now, good news when I'm standing in front of you is 150 CBG plants are executing beautifully in this country. They have to build 5,000 plants. It got delayed. It was to come in the grid by 2024. But वो नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि आ गया 24, 150 प्लांट बन गए. ये ऐसे ही होता है. But I think by 2030 you can see at least 3,000 of these 5,000 plants coming if everything goes fine. If 12 से 150 हो सकता है तो 1000 होने में टाइम नहीं लगेगा और 3000 होने में टाइम नहीं लगेगा, and 5000 भी हो जाएगा. And our white paper says doubling that to 10,000 projects of minimum 5 tons capacity. That would mean that India would barely import gas. So that's the challenge that I'm presenting. And what is my theory? I went and told the then director, Mr. Sehgal, who's now joined Reliance, IOCL Panipat. I told him, sir, there are 640,000 villages in this country. And I believe every village can produce 5 tons per day biogas. I said, am I right or wrong? The man was in full experience, was on the verge of retirement. He said, Prof, what you're saying is the thing that we have to do. Maneka, will you go now on record? It's difficult to get a man sitting on the refinery as a director with the largest refinery to go on record. He said, I'm doing. Tyagarajan did that interview, I can share with you all. And we discussed 6 lakh projects. And then when I took this interview to Tarun Kapoor, I shared that interview with Tarun Kapoor, with the petroleum secretary. He told me one thing, that what you guys are saying is correct, but I have only one challenge, that is how do we get the geographic availability of the right kind of waste with the energy content. So I said, then what is the discount that you need to make on this? I said, it's a simple idea of discounting, right? So I said, can we say for every 2 villages, at least we say that 5 tons per day is produced? He said, that is very much feasible. So now I discounted by 50%. So this is the potential of 3 lakh plants in the country, not 10,000 plants. So that is my next paper to the government. And when that happens, only 30% of that capacity will be used in India as gas, and the rest will be either going as hydrogen or directly as CBG export. Can you believe what will be India? It will beat the American economy if we do it. So this is if, right? We have to remove the ifs and buts in the process. So there are a lot of potential, and we have a lot of hydro stalwarts. I wish to tell you that the development of hydropower is very important to the country, very, very important agenda of the country, and without that we cannot match the grid frequency and sustain it. Whatever is going through the grid needs hydropower. And decentralization, we need more solar and other renewable energy and decentralization. So there is a bouquet that is prepared. See, we have been responsible in guiding the state of Andhra Pradesh, and that white paper is available. Basically, it's a small document. It's not even a white paper. It's just like only a report on that, which media refuse to take, so because they are not talking of projects in other states. It is the world's largest project, 6.68 gigawatt of electricity to be produced, and it is in Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh, which was Naxal affected once, and it starts with my favorite project, which is executed. It's a 1.68 gigawatt pump storage hydro project. I call it hydro because it's a type of hydro, but basically pump storage like a natural battery storage. So pump storage project of this capacity has not been built in the country. It is bigger than the 20-year back project of Purulia in Assam, and also Teri is doing 1,000 megawatt. That is another one which is coming up because that was already there in the plan. But this is the biggest project of its kind anywhere in the world, not only in Asia. So it is India's largest project, Asia's largest, and forget the political outcomes, who loses, who gains, but what Andhra has done. And it was an officer who was dedicated. He was an IRPS, Indian Railway Personal Service Officers, who was deputed to execute this in New and Renewable Energy Development Corporation of Andhra Pradesh. He's a close friend of us. He's joining us as an advisor as well, right? His name is Dr. Ramana Reddy. So that's the good news for you. And he's a great officer. He demonstrated, and 26 DPRs were done in the state of Andhra Pradesh, a record. 26, even Ministry of Power has the idea but has no clue of what's gone on the ground. So 26 DPR done for on-river projects. And if they say if they go off-river, it could go to 50 or 60 of them, right? And all the three, Greenco, Adani, all have entered. JSW, all entered the state. You know, and Mittals are putting up behind because of the availability of energy. They're putting up a greenfield steel plant, ArcelorMittal, in Nandyala, the next district. और वो इसकी 1000 megawatt बिजली लेंगे from the solar. They have a 4000 megawatt solar park under construction. Other than this, pump storage. And we physically visited the pump storage. Water is put in June now. Electricity will be delivered from November. So this is great news. So you must all clap what happened. World's largest project this is. It's called the Integrated Renewable Energy Program or Development Program. So this is the world's largest. So please give a big hand to yourself as Indians. कि हम कर रहे हैं. और ये federal way में हो रहा है. It's not कि only the central government schemes are working. A state government of Andhra Pradesh did it. Telangana want to do it now. You know, Maharashtra has signed up with NHPC for some big projects. So Madhya Pradesh is also coming out. Suddenly you'll see pump storage becomes an idea for actually sustaining the grid. And we have got Goel Saab. Goel Saab's idea is also very interesting. He says, why not convert the partial storages into kind of a hybrid pump storage? So that he will speak about. So stalwarts are here. Funding is available. I will make this discussion, I would say, very interactive. So I would request my people on the dais to help us as I raise questions and the answers will come, which will be more exciting for our audience. So if all of us agree, we'll go that way. But before that, Tyagarajan Saab, let's felicitate Sehgal Saab first, and we have a few words from him on the Nigerian issue and potential green energy. So request Garg Saab and others to honor him with the certificate. They joined us as patron members in Renewable Energy Association. Congratulations. We are working with Sehgal Saab's company. We are working on a very interesting project in Nigeria, which is a $5 billion worth of investment that we are trying to raise. And it is interesting. It's in technical terms, in Indian way, we can call it green refinery, but we don't call it green refinery because it's a green energy project for enabling blue hydrogen and green hydrogen. Over to Sehgal Saab. You want to come here, sir? Yeah.
My friends on the dais as well as the audience, good afternoon. I'm grateful to Mr. Iyer and REPA for honoring me. Thank you very much. Hello. So thank you very much for honoring me. It's a great pleasure for me also. So let me tell you what SPG Project Consultants are and what do we do. We are a consortium or a team of superannuated domain experts in the oil and gas sector, including clean and green energy. And most of us have more than 3 decades of experience. Of course, we have a few youngsters also with us. But that is the team. Mostly, we had experience of 3 decades in PSUs, Maharatnas like BPCL and GAIL, etc. And when we say domain experts, it means our expertise is there in the refineries, then in the cross-country pipelines, then storage of oil and gas, LPG plants, aviation, even now CBG plants, solar plants, etc. So that is the kind of domain where we have been working, and our team also comprises 2 ex-directors of BPCL who who have contributed very, very significantly, not only for the corporation but also for the industry at the national level. One, Mr. V.K. Raina, who was director in Bharat Petroleum Director Marketing. So, I mean, long back when the automotive fuel, LPG, was introduced, he was the main brain behind designing the whole policy, guidelines, even kit and all. Also coordination with oil and gas industry, including the surface and transport ministry. So at that level also, he has contributed a lot. Similarly, one Mr. K.K. Gupta, who was also director of marketing, and at the time of deregulation, when OCC, Oil Coordination Committee mechanism was abolished, so he, created a system of supply chain management, contributed a lot in 2002, around 2000. So what I'm trying to say is that their contribution is not only at the corporate level, in the BPCL, but also at the national level. Here also we have stalwarts in this thing. For example, Mr. Chadha, he has headed finance, almost all sections like corporate finance, treasury and other things like that, strategy. So he has that kind of knowledge about the finance part of it. Mr. Bhargava, he was executive director of in Bharat Petroleum when he retired, and he was heading R&D, and he is a master in refineries, and supply chain management also he headed. So that kind of experience we have. Mr. Dinesh Kumar is also sitting there. He has constructed a lot of oil and gas storage installations, including LPG plants all across the world, across India, for Bharat Petroleum and all. So that is the kind of team we have. Now we have been working, just to tell you for whom we have been working as SPG. So currently we are in dialogue or in consultation with one company in Nigeria. So they are going to put up 100,000 barrels per day capacity refinery, which we have converted into green and clean refinery after changing some configuration with the help of our experts. And this is going to be around a $5 billion project, close to that. And so we have been working on that with the help of REPA. I think hopefully we'll be able to succeed in that mission. And apart from that, we have been working with one Dubai-based company. It's a subsidiary of Dodsal, which used to be a very big company in India. They stopped operations in India long back, and they're concentrating more on Dubai and UAE and all. So that we have been working for them. We have worked for Indian Oil Tanking, who is a subsidiary, again, a joint venture of Indian Oil and other company. And also there is a company called DRAIPL, Dinesh Chandra R. Agarwal. They are a 9,000 crore turnover company. So we have been rendering consultation to them also. And FabTech also, to some extent, we have been associated with that kind of thing. So that is the thing which at present we have been working. At this stage, I'm really very pleased with the kind of message and the platform which we have today. Like REPA, see, the main need is that if we have technology providers as well as the finances, I think that any project, especially in the green energy, I invited from BPCL, Mr. Sandeep has come. His other colleague missed the flight today because of this problem today, which happened in the airport. Otherwise, he was to come. They are from renewable energy. Is a one business unit in BPCL. So he is heading finance part of it. So other part was. So we have been trying that, like this what public sector undertaking they will be looking for only the proven technology and some financer or whatever JV partner. So in this platform it will be available, and we can definitely look into for a very bigger size projects also. So we will have a meeting with them, kind of thing. Similarly, even for the other entrepreneurs, if some project comes like FabTech, we can definitely work on that. How to fund that both from technology point of view as well as from the finance angle. See, now the message which I just want to give about this environment, that we have to be very conscious about the alarms which we are getting these days. For example, related to environment, see the temperature what is rising in Delhi or anywhere in India. If you think deeply, see now it's 50 plus. You imagine what will happen after some time, So it is very, very difficult. 2 weeks back, I visited Hoover Dam. It is in US. 2 weeks back I was there in this month itself. And I visited just as a picnic kind of spot, because my son took me there. And I was deeply touched with one scene there, let me tell you. And see, it's a very big dam. 2 sides are rocks. I mean, it's a mountain, kind of tunnel type of thing. And its 2 walls are totally rocks, and one is the retaining walls, and the water falls for the turbine and all. So the thing which I noticed is that the water, there are layers on the rock, both sides, and it is changing, and the layers are, different colors of layers are there, and the difference is around 15 meters. Then when we found out from the local fellows, they say every year this water level is receding. Okay, so it means the exposure of sun to the rock is varying, gradually it is varying. So there are layers and all. So I could see that it is the water level which has come down is around to the tune of 15 meter or 20 meter in a period of around 10 years. Now, then further I found that reservoir, water reservoir, is feeding water for the cultivation for 16 lakh acres of land nearby. And more than 10 million persons are dependent as a drinking water also from that source. So if you see, deeply, that if the water is receding, what will be the alternate source for that? So the only message is that we should be concerned, and all our learned people here, we must work in this direction as an individual, as an entrepreneur, or as a corporate. And the best thing is that the platform like REPA is available, where we can arrange the technical thing also, technical proficiency also, as also at the same time finances also. I think with this I will just conclude. Thank you so much.
See, basically, you all know, many of you in the past who attended, that my favorite has been hydropower, right? And for the simple reason that it is a only energy that is available sustainable way and continuous way. And then we don't produce any carbon in hydropower. But that, when you look at my agnosticism, I would say even a nuclear power doesn't produce carbon. We are only discussing nuclear safety. So in the future, it will nothing wrong with developing some fast-breeder reactor, smaller one, decentralized, and then using thorium. Because I am not very convinced with conventional, heavy water reactors and all that. So we have to move towards beyond the FBRs. That means we have to go to the thorium. India has 60% of the global thorium deposit. For once, fuel will be in our control. What we have been trying to do, we have been trying to say we will develop technology. We don't need to develop too much, we need to adapt. Okay, what we need to develop more is, we need to develop the ability to control raw material and fuel. If we can do it in the next 10 years and start thinking in this manner, I think CBG will come. This, what I thought, pump storage will happen. And third part, which I'm talking about now, nuclear, is my very favorite subject, where I keep saying thorium reactor. Even if you have to import the reactor, because fuel is with you, right? Absorb the reactor, absorb the technology. This has been the way. My Guru Krishnamurti did that. BHL did not make a boiler just like that. They adapted the boiler, redesigned it, modified it, and made their own concept, right? Same thing they did with the steam turbines. So technology has to be absorbed. There's nothing somebody starts so we cannot take it. We don't have to start from scratch, right? It will be somewhere in between, and then you progress. You look at so many automotive JVs in India. Hero Honda was together, Hero is separate, Honda is separate. TVS Suzuki was together, TVS separate, Suzuki separate. So it's the best example. I will just give you two, but umpteen of them. Kawasaki Bajaj. Kawasaki is separate, Bajaj is separate. And all of them have markets. So ये शादियाँ हुई, ये टूटी, पर वो सारे successful हैं. Because they're all selling two-wheelers and some have come to four-wheelers. So this is not a one-sided game, right? It is going to benefit all the partners in the long run. So we must take a reasonable mid-term view at least. If not, a short-term view is very dangerous. Short-term view means we will do for surviving next 2 years. और यही हमारी mistake है. चाहे policy makers हैं, चाहे कोई हैं, they have been trying to live by the day. Living by the day is not for policy makers. It is for common people who are very poor, can live by the day. Leave them, but उनको तो पता नहीं है बेचारों को. वो ये नहीं सोच सकते. लेकिन what do you do with the next population? That means all the educated population of India and all the rich and neo-rich, they must not be living by the day. And surely not my political class. They must be thinking of my country for 5 years, 20 years, 25 years, and make equivalent plans like the Americans do or the Europeans do. Where is the plan if I say that मैं 2070 में net zero पे आऊँगा? क्यों 2070 भाई 2040 में होना चाहिए तुम्हें? नहीं हुआ तो 47 में करो, 45 में करो. So ये aggression हमारे जैसे organization से है. ये correction भी हम ही कर रहे हैं. In the last 10 years, a list of policy construct document is available. Anybody can access. We have done, and that we have put up in NDIM in our sustainability goals also. So we have influenced almost all the policy construct that has happened in renewable in India. There is not a single policy construct where REPA is not involved. So if that is the game we could play by not being in the government directly, but telling the government what to do and course correcting it, I can tell you this I have done for 20 years, my friends. And I have not lost a single time as a policy influencer. So if I am telling you this story of mine, believe that story and understand that government can only do as much as it does. It is people like us who must educate, go forward, work, and mostly I'm working with most public sector. NTPC, NHPC are my favorite companies. You know, in the biogas side, I've interacted more with IOCL. So with the help of Sehgal Saab, we will interact more with BPCL also. So I would say PSUs are the ones who must take a stand. Many private enterprises will surely come. They are also there with us, right? But I think there is a big opportunity to have a collaboration between in a public-private participation space between PSUs and the private sector companies. And this is waiting to unleash for India. So policy is one side, but action is another side. And we are in the action mode right now. So with this, I introduce the first question to none other than Dr. V.K. Garg. Garg Saab, you have worked for so many years. Was the public sector, was the private sector? You have also advised few people. You have seen things happening. So where is it you feel, maybe 2 or 3 points, fundamental, that we need to just change? Maybe execution. Policy तो हम बना रहे हैं, लेकिन execution हमारा क्यों slow है? This is my question to you, sir.
Well, in execution, we are somewhere we are slow, somewhere we are fast.
Yeah.
Where we are slow, we try to do an analysis. And I found that where the EPC contract is with the project promoter, that means the owner and the EPC contractor is the same. The project is invariably delayed and has a time and cost overrun. And the simple reason is that funds that are paid for EPC get diverted to different activities not related to the project. And in the process, project suffers. On 2 projects as experimental measures, we introduced that we will not pay, firstly, we will not have the same persons or the same entity as the promoter and the EPC company. But I knew that the back door, the connection continued. So we devised the second thing, that we will pay against the supplies, direct to the supplier, instead of paying to the EPC contractor or to the promoter. And that worked reasonably well. Supplies arrived in time. The construction work started. The construction contractors were paid again directly by PFC. It worked fantastically. So basically the basic malady lies in the what you call as the operational parameters and the procedures. And once you correct that and you pay against the supplies, pay against the work done, no project will get delayed.
Right.
Because every labor contractor, every supplier wants his payments to be done on time. Once you pay them on time with a clause of early completion bonus, penalty, they say ki sab how fast I can do it and how much bonus I can claim. So that is all. And some people say ki public sector it is not possible or not permissible. It is always there. Efficiency, good performance never gets penalized.
Right.
The only will is required to do it.
Right.
So that's where we, I mean, this is after having seen almost more than 100 projects at Power Grid and equal number of projects, more than that, having funded in PFC, and prior to that having seen in ONGC, because I had the charge of ONGC Hazira gas processing plant for 2 years. Though I was general manager of finance, but still I had the charge. I controlled the whole plant with all the chief engineers reporting. And we found that it was excellent way to work, and all the targets that were given were completed almost a month before then.
Right, right.
Because the contractors were paid, and there was a stage when there was a flood and everything was washed off, mud filled, labor had run away because of the plague. So it was a big problem how to get back the labor. Can you get it from Odisha? I had the labor flown by air.
Right.
And this contractor will say, साहब पैसे कौन देगा? मैंने भाई मैं दे रहा हूँ. मेरा per day का gas का loss इतना है. And we had it. Similarly, the projects which are being done by Daewoo of Korea, because of this, the main big project was behind schedule. Now again the problem was how to get it. I said, okay, doesn't matter, you get it air freighted. Air freight se mangaya, cost economics workout ki, I found it was cheaper and more efficient and more profitable to have it airlifted rather than waiting for the ship to come and the shipping channel to be
opened up.
I
know.
So that's it.
Right. So this is one side, basically you address issues of delay and technical point, but I want DP Goyal साहब to push because hydro में बड़ी delay है और इसके कारण सबको पता है. लेकिन what is the way forward that these kind of important projects like hydro come up in reasonable time? Some delays will be there. Like now we are seeing Subansiri was to be commissioned in 2023. Finally they said it will be done. पर अब वो फिर 25 तक जा रही है. 24 और 25 की कहानी है अभी. So these things keep happening. Some kind of geological surprises, some kind of flood challenges keep coming. So sir, is there any way that these delays are not prolonged beyond a limit? Like Pune Sanchu now has literally been delayed, in Bhutan. This project has been hanging fire. अब वो कल सुन रहे हैं कि Pune Sanchu 2 तो आ जाएगी, it may come up, but 1 still hangs fire. So what is your purview on this? Because the funders are more worried कि ये जो delays जो हो रहे हैं इनके पैसे कैसे दिए जाएं?
Good afternoon. Well, according to me, the delays are mainly because of the delay in decision taking. In government sector, in NJPC, when we started the project, the awards were done to international consortia. They were very competent. The geological conditions were very tough. We did not anticipate to that extent that what could be the technology which has to be deployed to make the tunneling through. When such a situation arose, the contractor wanted the decision, it took a lot of time. it is a waste of time. And once the decision was taken, the import of the machine was done. The situation took about 2 to 3 years to tackle that exceptional geological occurrence. This was Nathwa Chakri project. We started the Nathwa Chakri project in '92, and it was commissioned only in 2003 after 11 years. Well, an example of Tala, we did the same mistake. We contemplated in Himalayan conditions, geological conditions are very tough for any kind of tunnels. We again failed to contemplate that special equipment is required to make the tunneling through by the contractors. But the decision was taken, I always say, decisions are taken yesterday, not today. Going government side in Tala, we could manage the decision taken in yesterday. We saved that time of 1 year, which we wasted in Nathwa Chakri. And imports were done, machines were done, the tunneling was made through, but it took a lot of time. The third example is Kadchamangtu, the tunnel project. The similar kind of tunneling conditions. We anticipated that we cannot push through the tunnel unless we have the equipment right on the day one. Even if I don't get such tunneling conditions, I should have the operation equipment available right on the day one. You will be surprised to know we got the tunneling conditions difficult again. We did not lose even 24 hours to put the equipment, and we put the project 1000 megawatt. Tala project was 1020, Nathwa Chakri was 15,000. Where we wasted time, we did not waste even in day on Kadchamangtu. And we commissioned the project quite well ahead the original schedule of 6 years. When people talk of tunneling conditions, I said you give me any kind of tunneling conditions in conventional way. I don't talk of tunnel boring machines. In conventional way, I don't need a day one extra from you to commission the project. We have the expertise, we have the will, we should have the equipment available right on the day one. Ayyar Saab has talked of the delays in Parbati, in Uttarakhand projects. Well, the delay has been again only 2 reasons: decision taking and the insistence of the government departments to put the tunnel boring machine in Parbati or in Uttarakhand projects, where in Himalayan most of the projects you cannot use TBM. You have to do the conventional drill and blast and you will be through. I talked to the Parbati people about 8 to 10 years earlier. I said you give it to me and have your project in conventional way and forget about your machine which is buried there. Your project will be commissioned. It is not commissioned till today. The delay is because of decision taking, especially on the government side, in the corporations, whatever. Decision taking has to be very fast. That is a waste of time. And secondly, the equipment anticipation has to be very strong. The equipment is like a surgical operation. When you go to a hospital, all kind of equipments are available. If you want to save the patient, any operation can be done without waste of time. So similar kind of equipment is required to tackle the project difficulties. And no time will be wasted, I can assure you that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful. Now I want to extend this question in a different dimension to R.N. Mishra Saab, another hydro stalwart. Sir, now going beyond this, Kadchamangtu, Goel Saab finished in time. In fact, 4 साल में उसको बनाया गया, 4-4.5 साल. And even Tala was finished in quick time, right, sir? If I'm not mistaken. There were barely any delays, other than what you... Yeah, it is not, it can't be calculated delay. So I'm saying, sir, now why this kind of a strategy cannot be applied? Even SJVN project, if you take the timeline, it was finished in time. Nathwa Chakri came in reasonable time with all challenges. So can you throw some light on few of those challenges, and also that whether these will keep coming to the geology in Himalaya? We have to live with it. Yes, but it will come. Matlab, what I'm saying, you have to live with it.
How to be dealing with the nature in a friendly and cooperative way.
Right, right. So, Mishra Sahab.
You see that the question which you have asked me,
Yeah.
I will say it's a very difficult question. So I would like to answer it first philosophically and then practically. See, to construct any project, what do we need? We need technology. Technology is available. You can get the technology, pay for it, they will be there. You may have the people also who know the job, they will come, you can employ them. You need finance. Finance is also available. You have to either you put your money or you can borrow funds and that finance can come. Data are available. Then you need project management, the people who have to implement it.
Right.
Implementation has got the one thing that how to organize the job, how to make the payments, and to operate the contract. After that, there is another angle, another thing, which is known as character. Character is not available in the market on sale.
Absolutely.
Nobody can purchase it.
Right.
Nobody can say that you take it and now you are having good character. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying that people don't, I'm not saying anything, it should not be construed in any other manner. But the only thing is that to construct any project, the commitment of the company, its people, its top management, the people who are who matter, all these things is very important and their own character is very important.
Agreed.
Then the things move properly. You see what happens that when you start any project, normally what you are talking that either the project could be EPC or it project could be item rate based. Mostly these are the two particularly. EPC contracts, some people say it is panacea. You just give it and everything will happen. As Dr. Garg told that it is not so.
Right.
Reason is that you can have the EPC contract where you have got a lot of certainties, where I will say uncertainties are lesser.
Correct.
You know the topography, you know the geology, you know most of the things, and the uncertainties are less. There the EPC contracts are successful. They will be successful. But where it is not, EPC contracts will not succeed. Then the question is that you have got two parties, one party who have to get the work executed, other party has to execute the job, whom we call contractor. Unfortunately, in our system, the contractor is not considered as the partner. He is not considered to be coming from the same family.
Right.
The people who talk to the contractor very well, the people start saying, oh, there is something wrong. But the question that is here that we should say that we are partner in progress.
Bilkul.
I tell you, one of this thing, I went to meet Dr. E. Sridharan. That was my first meeting. When I went there, I went to his chair, I touched his feet. He said, what are you doing? I said, sir, I have come only to touch your feet. No other agenda, nothing else. We sat together. When I was coming out, you know what did he say to me? He said, Mr. Mishra, you can succeed in any project only if your contractor succeeds.
Bilkul sahi hai.
This is the thing what he told me.
100% right.
That is the thing which we have to learn. But unfortunately, this particular thing is missing in most of the projects. And other thing is that contract is given to so many people who are operating the contract. Unfortunately, those people, many of the people don't know what is in the contract.
Right.
I give you one example. I was posted at Seva Hydroelectric project as the head of the project. I went there and the penstock work was going on. Our penstock contractor was not being paid. People came and told me, this is the clause, this is the clause, this is the clause, the payment is not being done. Sir, we cannot make the payment. That person has done a lot of job. Then I read the clause, because I had been in contract for a long time before that. I just wrote down, I just gave the instruction, this is the clause, this is like this, and make the payment. The things changed completely. The person who was in his head office, Calcutta, he just came to meet who is that person who has come and started making payment.
Right.
So this is very important, that what type of leadership is given to the project, what message we are sending. Like in Rampur when I went, at that time World Bank has told this project will get delayed by 3 years.
Right.
This is in writing. And when I joined there, you see that people say, what did you do? Actually, I did nothing except doing a few things. Number one, I strengthened the monitoring. Every day morning, the progress was coming on my mobile, and I was saying, if I find something, I will talk to the person. I did not hesitate as a director even to talk to the junior engineer. Number two, what I did? I saw that the contractors' payments are released.
Correct.
Many extra items were lying. I told that up to 35 crores is my power. You put up the files.
Right.
People started putting the files and everything I cleared. And the payment started flowing. Then the contractors were, there are certain problems. You see that it's not so, that sometimes the contractors head office, they don't support. Unfortunately, there are problems in the contractors organization also.
Yes, yes.
And those problems, I was talking to their head, to their MD and everybody, and sometimes I feel even after talking, I'm not getting the result. So what we did even, that we said that you are making the payment, there was a clause that you have to make the payment say on the 56 days, within 56 days.
Right.
Somebody interpreted it, make the payment on the 56th day.
Oh my.
Because I am losing. I said that, how are you losing? If you are making the payment, that person is making, but the progress is becoming faster. More than the interest you earn, more than that you are getting. I said, why not that the contractor gives you the bill? You just seal cursory and make him 80% of the payment.
Yes.
If he charges extra, we will punish him. Even the material which was coming, we got it approved from the board. Then the material comes, it reaches to his shop. We see that we release some of the amount to the supplier itself. And many things started changing. So you have to see it. Wherever all these things are employed, because you see that nobody can give the prescription that you do it. Everywhere the circumstances are different. And one more thing in hydropower project, I tell you, the local problems, the administration, local administration, how much helpful they are.
Right.
Political. Many times the local administrators become politicians.
Yes.
And they create a lot of problems. Many times the problems are created which could have been avoided, but they are there. Then we put it in some other form and tell this, ye ho gaya, rock gir gayi, ye ho gaya. As he said, I always say geological surprises. I said I hate word geological surprises.
Right.
There could be geological adversity, but not geological surprises. Whatever happens, you know everything. So the things are complex, but still there are certain ideas by which you can compress the time, you can avoid the, and if there is any problem for that, as he said, very rightly said, you have to take a quick decision. Like in Rampur project, there was that the outlet, there was a fall. In the morning, I received a call that said there is a fall. I said, okay, don't worry. Now you start working how to restore it. And I tell you, within the same time, almost with a delay of 1 or 2 months, and within the same cost, we restored everything. What was the estimated cost earlier? But for that, you need that type of team, the people. So I will say that what I used to say everywhere, the character is one of the very important thing. If the people are thinking in that line, then many things can be solved.
Right, sir.
Thank you.
So, in fact, obviously the question will now proceed to Baba Saab. We had today morning itself, so something live we can discuss, that we saw a structure literally collapsing at the Terminal 1 of the Mumbai airport, and made by GMR, one of the best companies in airport construction in the country. And that way, I would say it's one of the best, because the other company, unfortunately, its airport in Mumbai is now with the Adanis. And I hope that Adanis can also show new airports, and maybe 10 more companies can come in the airport business. But this is important. We have some fine airport construction. This is also an awarded airport. We have awarded Mumbai, Delhi, both GVK, Adani got our awards also. ऐसी बात नहीं है. As good airports in the world, they have been also listed in world awards. So what has happened for T1, that this whole thing literally collapsed like 9 pins. So what is Bhava Saab's take on this, sir?
Right, good question. And had I not joined, probably I would have been answering this at NDTV, because there were frequent reminders coming. I'm sorry, I can't, but they would have asked the same question.
Yeah.
And my answer would have been the same, even if I am sitting on a TV or sitting over here, right? Airports are very glittering examples of infrastructure development.
Exactly.
Airports are very sensitive place. I tell people it are more sensitive than hospitals.
Yes.
Airport. The moment you enter the airport, there is a sort of an emergency on the mind of everybody who comes to the airport, because we don't take flights for pleasure. We take flights because we have condemned road, we have condemned rail, and we have given preference to travel by air. So airports are very sensitive infrastructure. Now, of late, what we are looking at the airport when we go, we are looking for glass and steel structure. But we should see what is behind that.
Right.
And everybody is working on what you say, making the passenger happy. We openly say that everybody is trying to win over the unique passenger experience. And unique passenger experience come from that he is getting a good coffee, he is getting a good service. But is he safe or not? Passenger is not asking. He is not bothered. Why? Because he thinks that I am in safe hand, they will take care of me, additional services I want. The moment a child is in the lap of his mother, he is not worried. So we have lost that parenthood when we go to that infrastructure. Now, why that infrastructure has fallen? It is not new to me. I have been in this trade, and I am remembered only when such things happen. Otherwise, no one calls me. So handling emergency, exigency is my forte. So at that time, what we do, we give some convincing replies, and then we try to sure that the media hype is hidden under the carpet, and then we become happy. And after that, if I go to any boss, sir, now I have managed this, and now you do the corrective action. He said, छोड़ो नहीं यार, अब हो गया, अब अगली बार फिर देखेंगे. So then we wait for another falling of infrastructure. So that's what is happening. Now, why this happened? This terminal 1 was old infrastructure. And as I mentioned, they would have repaired it, and they would have not known that old means that you must do the X-ray scanning, whether the legs are weak, whether is the inside there is something crippled. But no, they give the cosmetic treatment, and everybody was happy. And there are pressures. Infrastructure should not lie idle, and infrastructure should be economical. And why should we spend so much if it can, so much glittering can be done and people will? So that would have happened that way. And then there have been some quick fixes available which people have started using. And it is not that this airport is an old airport. It still survived. There are examples, even the new infrastructure which are created, and they have flown with the wind.
Yes.
The roofs have flown with the wind. Why? Because they were not tropicalized. We import material, and we don't tropicalize the material which we are using. Right, so that is very important. And sometimes we avoid the curing material. If the baby has to take 9 months to take birth, we must give mother 9 months. We do not push for early delivery. And we say, नहीं जल्दी करो, फ्लाइटें लेट हो जाएंगी, और VIP मूवमेंट है, फलाने किसी मिनिस्टर का जन्मदिन है, कोई सेलिब्रेशन डे आ रहा है, उस दिन तक आपको करना ही करना है. So I have seen airports being developed, the whitewash has been done, and they will make the whitewash to dry by putting the heaters, by being the hot floor, and रात को लगाया, सुबह inauguration भी करना है. So like that karke. So that's what we tell at airports. Everything should be, but safety and security is the prime forte of the aviation. That everybody is paying for that.
Right, sir.
Everybody, passenger is paying for that, and passenger shall demand for that. And passenger, we should, the moment we enter the airport, we feel that we are scared, but that is being challenged. And then, so far as the airports are concerned, airports are in question for many reasons. Now, since we are sitting for renewability and sustainability subject, and airports are always criticized for creating pollution, for creating noise pollutions. And maybe this noise pollution and environmental pollution has reached our cities very late. But when I joined service in 75, 79, 80, at that time, when I used to go abroad, and there used to be a very, very hype noise pollution, and because there used to be cargo, there used to be curfew in those countries. You cannot take off the flights night beyond 7 o'clock, right, or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever, depending city to city. And here we will welcome them. क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है 12 बजे, हमारे को नॉइज़ से कुछ नहीं फ़र्क पड़ता, उनको सब कुछ फ़र्क पड़ता है. They will put a curfew and we will welcome them. वहीं से हमारी फाउंडेशन ख़राब हो गई. We have not been concerned about the environmental sustainability, and that foundation is now having a multiplier effect, and probably that's the reason we need such kind of seminar, debates, etc. But I think over a period of time, since now environmental has taken such an important aspect, because aviation is such field that it is not limited to domestic. हम अकेले एविएशन नहीं चला सकते.
It's the whole world now.
Aviation is an international concept.
Absolutely.
We are a global market creator. Why any country needs aviation? Because we are connecting people. And the moment we connect two countries, multiple countries, then those country norms comes into being. And ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, which is UN body, they control and govern. So that is the reason now they have taken four strong points, that we should be eco-friendly, and we should be technically sound, and we should not be creating unnecessarily waste, and we should be we should be carbon neutral. So all those things which were being done voluntarily, but now we are coming to us as a matter of regulation.
Right, sir.
So we are being governed and things like that, and it is the duties and responsibility of the regulator has become more important. And I think gradually things like that, discussion like that, will make passengers more aware, more demanding. That's what I think. Right.
Right.
Thank
Usme,
you.
one thing I want to add: we were in Cochin, and I saw an amazingly, I would say, an airport which actually fits into the ethos, the environment, the cultural settings, and it is done. I tell you, it looks like a absolute brick and mortar, lovely structure. And I also saw that, and also know that because we have been evaluating airports with Baba Saab also helping us for the last 4 or 5 years minimum. So हम airports, best airports select करते हैं based on many parameters. I found Cochin is the only sustainable airport of its kind in the country, and probably in the South Asian region. And they produce all the electricity using solar. That's also what we saw. So there's something first, and I think you can have your most economical and finest coffee or tea in that airport. खाना भी सबसे सस्ता दे रहे हैं. So sustainable food भी है उसका. ठीक है? We had all those experiences. So I believe that I want to send a small note to the government that look at Cochin model of developing the international airports. And definitely I'm not happy with my Mumbai model, although our Adanis have got the award GVK on the basis of the most visited airports, most frequented, high passenger availability. Even we have renewable energy, no doubt. Delhi and Mumbai also has grown solar. But one point is very important. I hope they can work on it. The cost of procuring your basic stuff like water, coffee, and all has to become logical. It can't be atrocious. So this has to be changing there, So these things must change, and also passenger experience, as rightly put by Baba Saab, has to be changed. So these are sensitive infrastructure, as he says, and it's a very good word today I got from you. I think not only sustainable, but very sensitive infrastructure which interacts with people. People interact with the airport. It's not something simple for us. It's very important, and in a country where we have very vast ranges of travel, I feel even today a highway strategy may not be better, because the cost of going on the highway is not going to come less. Like if I want to travel from Mumbai to Delhi by road, even if we give you a 24-hour drive, I do not think my cost and my resources and my happiness will be as good as flying into Delhi, or maybe catching a train, a faster train, right? So I think our country must work on this airway system in such a way that we can produce further low-cost airlines, maybe 100-seater aircrafts. That's one idea we were talking about. So airport infrastructure is very important in this renewability and sustainability, and we see financing of that could be a very big area for us. And Baba Sahab has to identify.
If you permit me, since you touched that point, and I should not sit quiet once I listen that. You see, the country needs aircraft and airport to enhance viability of various schemes which the government has launched.
Right.
And gone are those days when we used to think that the international travel is the earning side. Now the domestic travel is also equally profitable as compared to international, because the affordability and the pockets of the domestic citizens are equally important, and they can afford.
Right.
And the government has come forward that to make more and more airports, but those airports can be effectively used only once we have an aircraft of the size of 100 to 120 capacity.
Right.
And because that will be a very economical, and that will make the less pressure on airports. The
Right.
bigger the aircraft we bring, the more the stress on the airport comes. And that's why we say ki low frill, no frills airports, and aircraft of smaller size will make the domestic aviation successful. And the government is also thinking that if we make the domestic travel successful, we can then develop an international hub also in the country, because the model works that way. So that's one thing, and probably there are models available which are economical models for airport development. We should promote that also under the banner of this sustainability and renewability. There are some airports which are 100% no carbon emission and no power usage, and those models, if we can pick up, and then we can promote those models under this financial schemes also.
Yeah.
Because we will have to tell people what is available.
Right.
Right. So
no, the beauty of this is, one of the things is the experiment of using ethanol into the aviation turbine fuel and blend it is already come successful. And it was not India, it was Brazil. That's what I'm coming to. Embraer jets were used to actually fulfill. So it's a successful model, but we don't have a single airline in India operating the Embraer jets. Okay, so that means we are not looking at Brazil. Some kind of mental block not to go there and make friends and buy aircrafts at low cost, and maybe invite them to make it here. It could be a very big area for people. A fund like us would be very happy to even see manufacturing going that dimension, because it has the emission norms control part very much intact in it, and it qualifies for this fund. So I'm just giving this idea, loud idea for everybody, including Sehgal Saab also, because one good thing Sehgal Saab told me, that for us the limit is not to only be in the typical converting of hydrogen from, I would say, fossil fuels or critical fuel, but also to enter areas which are linked. Maybe renewable energy for the oil and gas sector, which we were discussing, in a big way. I've been seeing that if the oil and gas companies wake up, the OMCs wake up in this country, actually they'll do more than NTPC and HPC. I'm surprised why they have not seen it that way. They were doing nothing. In fact, when I met Gurdeep ji initially, so that time to alumnus the, to common alumnus mein thodi baat ho jati hai, NIT Kurukshetra ke hain dono. So I had a lot of discussion with him, and he said, I said, why only thermal? Yeah, to solar bhi karenge. And it started with DK Jain sahab. You'll remember, sir. DK understood my idea. I said, auxiliary consumption 7%. You make it a mark as renewable to be converted. All the auxiliary consumption of thermal power plant be made into renewable energy. And he said, this is a good idea. He went with the 2% objective with Arup Roy Chaudhary, and it succeeded. कि भाई मैंडेटरी 2% करिए. तो this was not coming from the government. It was NTPC's own initiative that resulted in 2% of its capacity, and they said we have the land in all of our thermal power stations. वहाँ पर हम इसको करेंगे. All that resulted in the, I would say NTPC was one of the first companies to start reversing its carbon footprints, using solar. And now Coal India is into it. Now others are into it, and now we know NHPC has a 7 gigawatt portfolio coming for solar and other renewable energy. 7 gigawatt, not 1 or 2 megawatts I am talking. 7 gigawatt की बात कर रहे हैं. And उन्होंने already 1 gigawatt का target achieve करेंगे वो shortly. So they have 7 gigawatt of hydro assets. They'll have 1 gigawatt in quick time of renewable energy. So this is the potential. So I am looking at all the OMCs, not retaining only their business, but also looking at this dimension. Yeah, you want to say something? We have the renewable energy representative from BPCL. So can we get the mic to him?
So, sir, I'll just touch upon, you mentioned about the sustainable airport at Kochi and about OMC also.
Anji.
So, with respect to the sustainable airport at Kochi, Bharat Petroleum is putting up one green hydrogen refueling station over there,
right,
in collaboration with the CIL. So that will be like first kind of HRS with completely green hydrogen.
I know. I saw that was, you displayed it at the, I think the Goa thing, no?
So in Goa IW, we have put up, that is basically electrolyzer which has been manufactured by BPCL in collaboration with BARC. So that is first kind of electrolyzer manufactured in India, completely in India. All the component, and that electrolyzer we are going to put up at Kochi airport and producing the green hydrogen and supplying it to the CIL authorities.
Right. No, I will be a little louder for you in this. आप करिए complete फिर मैं बताता हूँ.
Yeah, and other than that, there are many areas in which I will talk about BPCL, who is going in a large way in renewable energy segment, including the green hydrogen.
बहुत अच्छी बात है. देखिए, I give you a little bit more point of contention, because this big loud sound on green hydrogen is not acceptable to me. I will explain to you why. This I have explained to Tarun Kapoor ji also. My point is, hydrogen is hydrogen. Whether it's blue, green, indigo, violet, it doesn't matter. Yes, we have a problem with grey, क्योंकि we leave the carbon and we don't treat it. उसको छोड़ दीजिए. Any hydrogen is hydrogen for me. Whether its method can be blue, green, because at the end of the day, hydrogen itself is not having any carbon. So अगर आपके अभी loud example ये है, we have got 350 billion tons of coal in this country. Now nobody will allow you to take the coal out other than maybe using it in some steel production. You will be ending up keeping it coal below the ground. यूरोप ने यूज़ कर लिया, अमेरिका ने यूज़ कर लिया, चाइना ने भी यूज़ कर लिया, उनके तो गीगावाट स्केल है, 1200 गीगावाट तो उनकी थर्मल पावर प्लांट्स हैं, ठीक है. So what does India do? It will be told not to take out this. Yes, agreed. I will not take out the coal. But what about me converting that to coal bed methane? Not a single fellow has challenged me. Not a single technologist has been able to put a challenge. मैं CBM बनाऊंगा, coal bed methane, मैं उसे हाइड्रोजन निकालूंगा. क्या दिक्कत है तुम्हें? और जितनी कार्बन सिक्वेस्ट करो, खेती ले जाऊंगा, my farming will increase. हार्ड कार्बन जा रही है, वाटर बॉडी में डाल दो. हमें तो कार्बन और नाइट्रोजन चाहिए ना एग्रीकल्चर के लिए. तो इतनी मूर्खता नहीं ज़रूरत है कि हम ये ग्रीन ब्लू, वो कोई डेलॉइट कह रहा है या के मैं तो नाम ले रहा हूँ, ये सारे मूर्ख यहाँ बैठे हैं, ये हमें बताएंगे ये सब करो. ये नहीं, प्रोफेसर आयर को सुनो, आप अपनी सारी हाइड्रोजन बनाओ. आपका सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज होगा व्हेन यू डू इलेक्ट्रोलाइजर बिजनेस कि हमें पोर्टेबल वाटर नहीं मिल रहा है, एंड पीपल विल चैलेंज यू व्हेन यू यूज टू मच ऑफ दैट वाटर. दे से गो टू द सी एंड यूज दैट वाटर. ये अभी नेक्स्ट स्टेज होगा, इलेक्ट्रोलाइजर की चैलेंज वहाँ आएगी. और जब आप जाओगे तो जापानीज की तरह देना पड़ेगा, $5 के नीचे आपकी गैस हाइड्रोजन नहीं बनेगी. सो इट विल बी कॉस्टली फ्यूल. सो पीपल आर नॉट स्टिल थिंकिंग. एंड आई हैव गर्ग साहब, उन्होंने तो पूरी कैलकुलेशन निकाली हुई है. मैंने बीच में कहा था सर वो जरा हमें दिखाओ. गर्ग साहब, यू हैव डन द कैलकुलेशन राइट? डॉक्टर गर्ग साहब, हाइड्रोजन पे आपने कैलकुलेशन निकाली थी वायबिलिटी की. हाइड्रोजन वायबिलिटी कैलकुलेशंस यू हैव डन. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई एम एक्सप्लेनिंग. सो इट्स नॉट वायबल स्टिल. Not a single company has answered, and they cannot show me figures of viability. So I'm saying, just because we have a fetish to do green hydrogen, we go there. No. Please work on your blue hydrogen. It is enough market. पहले वो सेल होगी, क्योंकि हाइड्रोजन तो हाइड्रोजन ही है ना, चाहे वो ब्लू से है. आप कार्बन सेक्वेस्ट्रेट कर रहे हैं तो वैसे भी ग्रीन हो गई वो. आप जब सेक्वेस्ट्रेट कर रहे हैं, कार्बन कैप्चर कर रहे हैं, तो कहानी खत्म. So what are we into? Why we are only believing what the West is telling us? So I have a problem. That is why you are not going 2070 की बात क्यों प्रधानमंत्री कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें पता है ये रास्ता नहीं, ये रास्ता. वो उन एडवाइसर्स को हमें पकड़ना चाहिए कि भाई तुम ये करो जिससे कि 2047 में हम ग्रीन पे चले जाएं और रिसाइकलिंग में जाएं. Because circular economy arises the moment you do carbon capture. Being an engineer, I am focused, and we are into financing. Our financiers are happy with this. So somebody else is wrong, and if I'm saying the American funders and financiers are happy with this, please be careful. Don't follow the wrong path. That is my message too. You want me to make a presentation, I'm ready. When it was CBG, nobody picked up the paper. And it was Tarun Kapoorji who called me 2020, and then we made the CBG white paper. If you don't have, we'll give you a copy. And that was the first CBG white paper that transformed. Today we have 150 plants, and we have to pat our back for that. क्योंकि जब 12 प्लांट थे 150 हो गए अभी, अब 5000 भी हो जाएंगे, 10,000 भी हो जाएंगे. तो इसलिए we have to be practical. रिन्यूएबल का पोटेंशियल आपका इतना है कि आप सोच नहीं सकते. You'll forget your oil and gas business. इतना पोटेंशियल है. All of your companies will be converted into more renewable, rather than you'll say our portfolios become big within no time. So that is the challenge future के लिए. Like I tell you, green hydrogen can be produced by all the hydro companies more than anybody else. You know the reason why? They have the water in command. They are in the water capture. They are in the water. वो पानी बैठे हैं. And the coastal regions of India are ready for you. Come make as much as green hydrogen you want. Have the guts. आपको रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी लगानी है तो डिसैलिनेशन को भी रिन्यूएबल से करो ना. फिर आप ये दूसरी बात कर, हम तो हाइड्रोजन बनाएंगे इससे, ग्रीन एनर्जी से. फिर डिसैलिनेशन क्यों नहीं आप सोलर से करते? कौन रोक रहा आपको? सो मूर्खता बड़ी है हमारे यहाँ. मतलब एक की बात करो, दूसरी बात नहीं करो. तो एनीवे सर, yes, for portability, for other things, industry, बिल्कुल. तो ये बात है ही ऑलरेडी. तो उसको क्वांटम में क्वांटम लीप लेना है वहाँ पर हमको. सी द लास्ट आई रिमेंबर द ओनली डिसैलिनेशन प्लांट सप्लाइंग वाटर टू अ सिटी इज बिल्ट इन तमिलनाडु, इन चेन्नई. अब वो दूसरा बनाना चाह रहे हैं, पर वो जयललिता जी के टाइम पे बना था. उसके बाद कंट्री में कोई ऐसा वाटर सप्लाई प्लांट नहीं है इस स्केल का. वी नीड टू डू मोर ऑफ दिस. इफ द अरब्स कैन डू इट इन द मिडल ईस्ट, व्हाट इज आवर प्रॉब्लम? अच्छा, उसकी एनर्जी इंटेंसिटी है, बिल्कुल है, तो आप रिन्यूएबल लगाइए. क्या दिक्कत है आपको? आप हाइड्रोजन की बातें कर रहे हैं पहले, और पानी का बात कर लो यार, पिला दो पानी लोगों को ठीक से. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी प्रैक्टिकल. सो आई एम सेइंग, आई एम एग्नोस्ट. I don't care if it comes from a CBM source. I'm happy. Tons and tons of coal in India, 350 billion ton. और बता दूँ मैं आपको, this ambassador of Pakistan came to India, Abdul Basit. ये एक कहानी आपको सुनाता हूँ. Abdul Basit came in Mumbai in a circuit which is actually this जो ये Reliance की एक group है ना, ORF, उनका और one more group had called them. So I was also invited. So this guy comes. I meet him and it was crazy. I just say hello to him. मैंने कहा, बात करते करते we just happened to touch. मैंने कहा सर कश्मीर छोड़ दीजिए. अब इंडियन बोल रहा है कश्मीर छोड़ दीजिए, है तो ये तो एकदम शॉक है. मैंने कहा मैं आपको कुछ ऑल्टरनेटिव देता हूँ, कश्मीर छोड़ दीजिए. मैं कहता है ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है, आप कह रहे कुछ और दे देंगे, क्या दे देंगे? मैंने कहा देखिए, आपका थरपारकर डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, आपका लार्जेस्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, बॉर्डरिंग माई राजस्थान एंड हाफ ऑफ इट रन ऑफ कच्छ. मैंने कहा वहाँ पर आपकी लिग्नाइट और कोल की डिपॉजिट इज़ 5th लार्जेस्ट डिपॉजिट इन द वर्ल्ड है. मैंने कहा हमारे यहाँ सारी थर्मल पावर प्लांट है, हमारे इसमें ऐश कंटेंट 40% है, आपके इसमें ऐश कंटेंट 20 से 18% करीब आती है इंडोनेशिया के, और हम ले रहे हैं इंडोनेशिया से कोयला. मैंने कहा आप एक काम करो, आप कश्मीर छोड़ दो, आप कोयला का व्यापार करो, लिग्नाइट का व्यापार करो, इंडिया के साथ सांठगांठ करो, और हमसे जो सोलर वोलर लो. वो फर्स्ट राउंड में तो वो उछल गया, गले मिल गया. ये अलग बात है कि पॉलिटिकली वो सारे फंसे पड़े हैं, ठीक है, लेकिन उसका बोलता है यार आप आइए पाकिस्तान. ही इन्वाइटेड मी इमीडिएटली. सो दिस वाज लाइक आई सेड व्हाई वुड यू डू विद कश्मीर, एंड वो लड़ाइयाँ कर रहे हैं हमसे. छोड़ो यार, काम करो, बैठो, खत्म करो उसको, एंड लेट्स मेक द गेम दैट वी हैव डिपॉजिट्स ऑन वन साइड, ऑन द ईस्ट. यू गाइज हैव सो मच. हाँ जी. So these are the type of things that come in front of us. You know, wisdom is required, leadership is required.
During Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, when he was PM, Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister there.
Yes, yes.
Shehbaz Sharif has come to India.
I know.
As emissary and he had come with the proposal that India and Pakistan can work on the power supply.
Right.
हमने कहा भाई BHEL के पावर प्लांट हमारे पास हैं, कोयला आपके पास है रैन ऑफ कच्छ में,
राइट.
नो मैंस लैंड को एक्सटेंड करके वहाँ बीच में प्लांट लगा देते हैं. हम प्लांट लगाएंगे, आप कोयला दीजिए, पावर 50-50 डिवाइड कर लें.
बिल्कुल बढ़िया. राइट.
वो हाँ करके गए. बाद में प्रपोजल फिकी और CII में गया. When he went there, it was all
fizzled out. I know that. But this is interesting. I tell you, I remember when the Gujarat Solar Park was being done, there was a plan to actually supply power to the border districts which were उस समय.
पाके इसके अमृतसर का जो एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है which is just very close to the
Wagah border, I know.
वहाँ वो रेडियल मोड में पावर
Yes.
भेजने के लिए वो लाइन तैयार करा ली गई.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. So it is this type of projects that can only reduce conflict. I would say conflict may be still there because you are historically connected with what happened in the past, and mostly that is being fueled. But I tell you, the only way countries can come together, even adversaries like India and I don't call them enemy, they are more like an adversary, unnecessary adversary. कोई मतलब नहीं है क्योंकि size नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, unnecessary adversary है. ठीक है. हाँ. हाँ जी. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. Will चाहिए, will. Political will चाहिए. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So this type of a thing, where the cooperation can go. See, then the fundings become agnostic. Funds become agnostic. They are basically connected to help people and help, I would say, development. अगर development के ऊपर focus किया जाए, बहुत सारे झगड़े खत्म हो जाएंगे. See, our problem is we spoke and we talk Vikas, but at the end of the day, we do not choose Vikas. We do not choose it as a tool for asking for votes. Its time has come to do that. That's my very fervent and last point. I hope we can convince our political friends on doing this. And I will give you a short that I just went to Vietnam. It is seen as a communist country because the party is a single party controls it. And on the other side, because I did in quick time, very good. Anybody wants to interact with me on that, I can help later. But I'm telling you, we discussed capability of building projects in the Sustainable Development Goal. My mission was that. I met the ambassador, very positive. Before that, I went through the Consul General of Ho Chi Minh City, and he was completely positive. And I was amazed at the kind of response my first visit to the country gave me. So I was astounded. I thought they are more ahead of us. This is my feeling I got, right? And while they don't speak the English language, I needed interpreter every time. I was just astounded, and what kind of, I would say, genetic love for India they have is just unbelievable. They showed me only, sir, like Gandhi is your Gandhi, like that. Ho Chi Minh is our guy. And then there was a nice photo of Pandit Nehru hanging at the entrance with Ho Chi Minh. And that's everywhere, almost in the houses you go. I met a military commander also who's retired. It is like love for India. They see China in a very, they say the expression was China like this and then they stab. That's the expression they gave me. They said this and then this, So while for us India, he said like this he showed. If this is the moment of truth, I think we need to work with countries like Vietnam. We had enough with the West. We had enough work. They will come. They will anyway come. They know India. But we need to increase our presence in Asia itself, and probably Middle East, Asia and Africa is our way to go. So this is the way I look at it. I've reserved one book on IMEA for you. So I'll share with you after this forum. So anybody wanted to close? Sehgal Saab, want to close on something? You want to make a comment? Last comment to you? Because I'm done with everything. And on the financing side, anybody wants to meet me on the understanding the three models, I'm game for you. You have my card, you have my numbers. I'm open to discuss, talk to you, and see what we can do. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, the future lies in Middle East and South Africa.
Yeah.
So number one, after Vietnam, we
Middle
must
East and Africa, sir. The whole Africa.
whole Africa. So after that, now picking up a lead from there, we should identify 3, 4, 5 places where the potential and things lies, and we can float a group who could be interested. It could be an industrial visit, or it could be an interactive visit, and that we should promote, so that when we come back, we can give some kind of a presentation to the government or to our people. So this kind of exchange program and this programs we should identify, and we should see that how we can make best use. So we drive synergy out of that visit.
So one idea of yours I'm going to execute, because I had promised that we'll take a delegation. Either they bring, and it's like a two-way approach.
Exactly right.
So they have already told me through the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce Industry.
Exactly.
They come forward, and I'm also working with some African chambers. So it will be happening. But this is a work in progress. Aapko pata hai.
Good, right? Very good.
We are never in a hurry.
Right.
Our group and this, basically those on the dais are very close part of us, and many can join. We have some 50 to 100 professionals interacting with us regularly. You may not see all of them. Throughout the country they are there, and we have 10,000 professionals connected worldwide. So this is not a small body. It has influence in 70 nations. We can do work there. Only thing is we are a little conservative, because I worked with German people. So one thing I've learned, never rush through. Work systematically, slowly. It will look slow initially, but surely. And this is why. Any audience question, because that's one last thing we must do. We can keep 5 minutes for this. Anything to any of our panel, any questions? Kapil Saab, you have anything? All good? Arora Saab, all good? Anybody here, like our BPCL friend, came up with a question?
I saw Single Saab entering.
हाँ?
Single Saab entering.
हाँ, वो मैं देख रहा हूँ. मैंने कहा आएंगे तो उनसे.
Right.
आइए सर, कहाँ यहाँ बैठे हैं? आओ आप मेरी चेयर पर. Introduce, and then you have not seen what others spoke, but yes, I will have a relevant point of contention. Quick one, we are almost closing. R.K. Singhal he was there in the last meeting here. R.K. Singhal is the former Executive Director of Steel Authority of India Limited, a very reputed person and a man who has spent full time in the public sector, and he was ED communication and several other things, departments, so many. But yes, what question we were having today was, our whole idea was renewability beyond sustainability, and I defined that, but then in brief I tell you, sustainability only keeps it as it is. We want to improve the situation. So it is not a renewable energy issue, it is an issue of renewability for all, right? Something like replenishing things, So how do you see from your background and your experience that how we can go towards that, one step ahead, from being just sustainable to renewable, replenishing, making the planet better for our next generation. It's a very generic agenda, but then the word is renewability that I have put. It's like, you're putting the cat amongst the pigeons wali baat hai. So aji yahan, you can use the mic there on your left, so that we can hear you, and all this is going on recording.
First of all, my sincere apologies. I'm audible? My sincere apologies for being very late, because I had some meeting. I told Mr. Tyagarajan whether I'm allowed to come or not. So he said you can come. See, Indian...
Aye.
As all of us know that our Indian economy, India is growing. As India grows, more and more energy will be required. Of course, he must have touched upon the what. As more energy is required, and then more emission will be there, CO2 emission. And these days, people are all over the world, especially European and American and countries, they have put a premium. In case our companies want to export there, they'll have to pay some extra tax because of the carbon which while producing we are emitting the carbon. So Indian economy is expected to grow at the rate of 7% per year from the now to 2031. And India is among the fastest growing economy, and more it grows, more energy will be used. And as of now, we are using 75% of our energy, Dr. Iyer will correct me, at least 75% is used from coal. more coal means more CO2 will be emitted. But one thing is there, you can be rest assured, your government is not sitting idle. The other day I was talking to the person who looks after PIB, is still in the PIB government of India. So he told me that the renewable energy department, they are working round the clock to bring all kind of changes in this renewable energy sector. So I will just mention few of them before you. Actually, this is not something which I am going to say. In 2023, last year, India along with China and USA, we are among the top 3 polluters in the world. Number 1 was China, number 2 was USA, and number 3 was India. And our pollution grew by about 8% to 219 billion tons of CO2. So this doesn't paint a very rosy picture, but because more, as I mentioned, more energy will be required. But another good point is there that in India, the renewable energy, what he is talking, the use is growing in the last 8 to 10 years. It has more than doubled. See, deployment of renewables in India has more than doubled, especially in solar area. And it has also, in the wind power also. You know, in solar sector, it has gone by more than 12-fold. And the wind power, it has been doubled in the last 8 years. And the target is to go to 500 gigawatt by 2030. So they will have to accelerate if they want to touch that figure of 500 gigawatt. Is that correct, Dr. Iyer?
I will give you the right picture.
Hmm.
I'm saying more or less you are there. But you know, this is like the government speech. But you know, a body speech you will be right.
I'm a government man, so I'll be talking about my government, which is doing so well.
It's not doing so well. That's what I
No, irrespective of the number of seats we have got.
You yourself contradicted. You said 75% we are using coal.
Yes.
So what is the reason for that? So
Because coal, because we are all the economies, see, in going forward, all the economies in the world, the coal is not going to go away. Coal is going to be here. And we don't have, world doesn't have any silver bullet to replace coal immediately. Whatever technologies are there, whether it is hydrogen, renewable energy, you don't have enough capacity. So you need, even for hydrogen, you need to build electrolyzer industry. So you, renewable, but you need to develop electrolyzer industry, na? You need to invest. No, you may be right, but globally also, so many hydrogen projects are on, but those projects are also facing problems. That is a separate subject. We can discuss one day hydrogen here. I can bring our experts also. Because cost is going, so many projects are on in the world. So that is taking time. But what is good is that India is among the countries recognized which have taken initiative to go ahead. India is not sitting idle. Whether it is OECD, IMF, everybody recognizes that India has taken concrete steps. India is not sitting idle, considering that we have started late.
These are the same bodies that are just following us. That is what I mean. This forum is about how to get alternative funding. See, we have discussed alternative funding.
I'm not telling that. मैं अपना viewpoint बता रहा हूँ कि this is what is happening. And government has taken a lot of steps in the renewable energy area. I'll read few of them. National Green Hydrogen Mission, they have launched, and that aim to make India a global hub for production of hydrogen. And also export green hydrogen and its many derivatives. See, many Indian countries like JSPL, they have gone abroad and they are setting a plant in Oman, and their plant in Oman, Vulcan Green Steel, is recognized as one of the places which will be a supplier of green steel to the world. Though definition of green steel is not finalized, people are still grappling what should be green steel. This is one, hydrogen, government has taken action. Government has also launched production linked incentive scheme to provide incentives for setting up solar power industry, and also the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Urja Yojana, and also rooftop solar power stations, and setting of ultra mega renewable energy parks. All these incentives government is providing. Similarly, they have also provided many notifications for promoting all renewable energy across the board. And also they have provided 100% FDI in the renewable energy sector. I don't know whether it is, you must have touched. And they are also specifying the percentage of fossil fuels which will be, companies will be allowed to use by 2030. See, many of the steel companies, because I'm from the steel sector, I'll be mentioning in between the steel sector like Tata, SAIL, JSW, JSPL. We have all committed by 2030, partly or fully, we will be replacing to renewable energy, so thereby reducing our emissions. And see, Coal India, which is so much maligned, that for producing coal, they are one of the most valuable companies in the world, in India. At the moment, they are having 4,600 megawatt load of 4,600 unit per year power. And they intend to set up 3,000 megawatt solar power plants by 2030. Similarly, in NLC India, there are all the four big coal producers have their own plans for setting up solar and is that correct? Now let me talk about the steel sector, because I'll be more comfortable there. So any renewable energy progress in the world is not possible without steel. Whether you want to set up renewable power, whether you want to set up your wind power, everything needs steel. And there he talks about renewability beyond sustainability. So steel sector, as all of you know, contributes 2% to the GDP of the country. The Government of India, Ministry of Steel, they have set up 14 task forces to identify what our sector, steel sector, needs to do about the to change over to produce low emission steel and also become net zero, and by some date, all companies, Tata Steel has a target to go to 2045, JSW has a target 2050, SAIL has a target of 2050 or 60 exactly, I don't remember. But they are following number of strategies like circular economy. All of you know that steel is an item which can be used again and again and again and again. So now they are also trying to, all companies are focusing on circular economy, circularity. So there, not only when you produce steel, not only the steel is produced, but you also generate slag. And the slag built roads, and he has already touched, I am not talking on that. So steel sector is very critical, as I told you, for your infrastructure. This is something basic everybody knows. Nowadays the companies, what they are talking, instead of coal and oil, they are planning to use hydrogen in the reheating furnaces, in the blast furnace, and also to eliminate, all of the seniors will know here, that blast furnace technology, if anyone of you must have studied science will know blast furnace is considered to be the main thing to produce steel. You can't produce quality steel without blast furnace. But that myth is now gone. The company is to go slowly, and if they have to produce steel without emission, the green steel, they will have to produce through combination of green power, DRI, that reduce iron, and electric arc furnace and scrap. With the scrap, India at the moment uses, I'll just touch bits and pieces because he's asking me to. To produce steel, you can use iron ore, you can use scrap. But India has we use about 30 million ton of scrap, 25 million ton we import, 5 million we import, 30 million, 25 is internally available. But this 5 million will become very difficult to import, because all the countries abroad, they are going for something called scrap nationalism. Europe, Turkey, they are all USA, because they will have to produce steel with low emission, so they will stop exporting scrap. So whatever scrap is, steel is, there, please circulate, keep it together, somebody will come and buy. The government is appointing so many scrap collectors. So this what government has made these 14 task forces to identify what are the areas they need to touch upon to produce green steel. The reports have been submitted. So those reports are being synthesized, how it is required, how it will fan out, and very soon it will be in the public domain. But till that time, the government is allowing, at the moment, you know, technology, as I meant, technology is also not available. Our steel plants are, many of them are generally new. A blast furnace has a life of 30 to 40 years. So by that time, by 2035 or 40, when the blast furnaces are due for renewal, we are expecting that new technology will come. And by that time, this hydrogen, DRI and electric arc furnace technologies will be available for people to use. The sub and substance is that to produce green steel, they will have to invest lot of money, where European countries and USA, they are giving lot of incentives to their companies to set up, and green steel will be costly. So whether people are willing to pay. In USA also, USA and Europe, people are not willing to pay extra for green steel. Unless and until they pay for green steel, it will be difficult to for the companies to give you the green steel. But youngsters will definitely ask for material which is better. Because globally they will have to travel globally, and they will be now exporting abroad, so they will say they want green steel. So these are the challenges before them. They need technology, they need trained manpower. But one thing is here, that your government, your people in the industry are working, they are conscious of the fact, either because of their own compulsions or because of the global requirement. So this emission-free steel and everything is going to come, whether it is power sector or any sector. Decarbonization is the reality. Companies have no choice, they have to go ahead with this. Thank you, because he is giving me, he's steering me. I would have
So one small correction. Actually, 100 gigawatt solar by 2022, it was done by REPA, and that was adopted by the MNRE. So for him, some figures to take. No, 100 gigawatt by 2022 was the first target, and 175 gigawatt renewable energy was the target. Government could not meet in 10 years the target. They fell short by 40 gigawatt exactly in 2022. We were 60, and even now when we are talking, we are 70 gigawatt, and that is for solar. And for what happened at the same time China walked this talk, they took my white paper from Tobias Engelmeyer of Bridge to India, and with my white paper on India, they developed 300 gigawatt plus. यही आपका नेबर है जो काम कर रहा है. तो आप जब उसकी एमिशन की बात करोगे, बोला मैंने तो सोलर 3 गुना डाले हैं इंडिया से. एंड इफ यू सी ऑल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग, ऑल दैट नहीं सर, हम तो फैक्ट वाले हैं सर. वी आर द रिसर्च गाइस. वी आर टेलिंग द गवर्नमेंट यू आर गोइंग रॉन्ग. अब क्या बात करते, देखिए नहीं, आप सुनिए तो सही, अभी आप बोल चुके हैं ना. अभी नेक्स्ट जो हुआ है वो सत्य है, ठीक है. दूसरी चीज़ है 175 gigawatt renewable was not achieved. We fell short by almost 65 gigawatt in that. Whether wind was there, that also did not progress. There were some structural issues, tariff and other things. Now they will be course correcting. So what is the new target for India? That's what we are discussing. So since you fell short, we told them, okay, we come down, and that will where it will be coming to. 400 gigawatt solar is the new target REPA set shared with MNRE for 2027, because they could not do in 24. तो हमने 2027 का रखा है. ये उसको ऐड करके 100 gigawatt और विंड और बाकी ऐड करके 500 gigawatt की बात हो रही है, और 2030 की बात हो रही है. तो हम कह रहे हैं 27, वो कह रहे हैं 30, बिकॉज दिस हैज रीजन. 27 करोगे तो आप वो 2050 के नीचे आओगे. बिफोर अमेरिका यू विल कम. लाइक ऑल द स्टील प्लेयर्स आर रेडी, दे आर रेडी. उनके बिजनेस में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. ये कह रहे 2030. They have said that will be. So my problem is why the other side we are discussing 2070. So this will remain a challenge, and bodies like us are vocal bodies, which are not yes men of anybody, right? Neither we were before nor we are now. So and we are bringing the funds also. We are openly telling government, तुझे भी fund चाहिए तो तू बता, right? How many billions you need? You say this is not. You want to do boot. You talk to us. You want 10 billion, 30 billion, 300 billion. Give a target. Come forward. Don't hide. You know, and another thing is we will not tolerate corruption for sure. We will like to audit, and 80% of the money has to be used and should be seen used. It will be audited. So these global funds are available, as rightly somebody else also was saying. Funds available है. Honest रहिए, development करिए, जितना बनाना है करिए, स्पीड अप करिए, डोंट प्ले द टास्क कि पहले ये हुआ था और अब ये हो रहा है. मे बी आवर ग्रोथ रेट विल बिकम स्लोअर इफ विल पुट अप स्मॉल टारगेट्स. In fact, this government has to embrace larger targets now because the ambition of the youngs is also not going to be sustainable. It has to go to renewability. वो आपको अच्छा आप कह रहे हैं हम कॉस्टली देंगे, वो कहेंगे कॉस्टली क्या लेना, तुम एफिशिएंटली प्रोड्यूस करो यार, टेक्नोलॉजीज अवेलेबल है. सर आर्सेलर और मित्तल का आप आने के पहले मैंने बताया नंदियाला में स्टील प्लांट डाल रहा है, 1000 मेगावाट वो लेगा हमारी पिनापुरम स्कीम से. 6.68 गीगावाट इज द लार्जेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट इन द कंट्री. It has gone federal. It's not a central government business. It is a state government which is developing the largest project. So let us open our eyes that 5 states of India, I would name them, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh will also include it, Gujarat, and the 5th big states which are not being seen are 2 states which have been divided, but together they are bigger than most states, and it's Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. And massive investments are going. या नहीं वो ठीक है, हम सेल की बात नहीं कर रहे सर, वो हम सेल की सारी स्लैक तो आपसे लेनी है ना. सो फॉर एग्जांपल स्टील बिड्स, तो प्राइस तो देखिए सर दैट इज अ डिफरेंट मैटर. आई एम सेइंग वी हैव टू कीप द प्राइसेस कॉम्पिटिटिव, वी कांट जस्ट गो ऑन इंक्रीजिंग. फॉर एग्जांपल नहीं कैसे आज देखिए हम रेगुलेटर कुछ नहीं कह रहा है, 15 रुपीज़ की डोमेस्टिक टैरिफ है महाराष्ट्र में, वाई 15 रुपीज़, वाई इन दिल्ली 8, वाई सम अदर प्लेस 6 रुपीज़. We have to have some standardization. What are the regulators doing? So our duty is not to go down to these fellows and say, भाई तुम जो कर रहे हो सब सही है. हमारा ड्यूटी इनको कोर्स करेक्ट करना है. So that is the last point I want to say as REPA. And all the best to all of you. We are fighters. We will remain fighters. हम yes men नहीं है किसी के. And we are doers. हम वो करेंगे. हम इंडिया को उस जगह ले जाएंगे जहाँ आप सोच नहीं सकते. You know, 10 ट्रिलियन 20 ट्रिलियन जितना भी करना करेंगे, लेकिन it has to be done today. We have to plan today, not tomorrow. हाँ जी, या. Because mic, it will not come otherwise.
Thank you. So there are several debates going on nowadays which have to do with the environmental implication of disposal of the solar panels once we've used them. So would you like to throw some light with facts and figures on that? How true is that? How good is the solar energy in present day as compared to other options?
See, I'll tell you something. This question first will have to be raised on the lithium guys also. Because I have been challenging the government on the issue that pump storage kariye, ye lithium storage ka business mein jaiye, because they are talking of putting battery storage and powering the grid. That's a very dangerous concept. It will increase my tariff to 30 rupees and also create pollutants, because lithium disposal is going to be a big hazardous environmental issue. Drawing cobalt is an environmental issue. Drawing the nickel is an environmental issue for me. So इसके ऊपर अब बात शुरू हुई है. मतलब अभी तक तो कोई नहीं सोच रहा था बनाओ इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, अब वो बात शुरू होगी. And that's why we are promoting CBG based. We are saying life extension of the automotive rather than life extension of the fuel program. Even ethanol, I am not with them. मैं कहता हूँ इथेनॉल बनाइए, आप ब्लेंडिंग ही करोगे 20% के बाद तो पहुँचोगे नहीं, जबकि CBG में मैं 100% कंबस्ट करूँगा फ्यूल को, तो मैं IC इंजन्स में वो कंबस्ट करूँ. और अभी कंपटीशन किसकी है? इट इज़ बिटवीन द इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल एंड द CNG व्हीकल्स. तो इससे CNG व्हीकल्स को प्रमोट करोगे कि CBG यूज़ कर सकते हैं rather than electric vehicles. So one answer I gave you. Regarding solar, hard truth, after 25 years the life cycle, but actually what I know as a technologist is these panels will last more than 25 years. It's just like the thermal, that there will be a life extension of 35 years odd. Nobody is going to throw it out. But efficiencies at that time will be lower, much higher than the panels of today. So basically ये इतना बड़ा immediate challenge नहीं है, but yes, industry has to wake up. They have to treat the electronic waste there, and they have to see the big problem is silver is being used to manufacture photovoltaic, and we have in 10 years all silver will end. You have an alternative material for that. Nobody is thinking. So ये चीजें, lithium का कितना life है? Lithium की life भी 10-12 साल 15 साल. So people have to think not to go to lithium batteries, but more environment sustainable stuff if they want to use batteries. My view is electric vehicle will be hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle and not this. So I've seen this in 2009 in Canada. I traveled in Reformer Technology. It is using gas. Before he came, I talked about it, that I would make as much CBM as possible from coal with my 350 ton. I'm not keeping quiet. I'm not listening to the West. And then I will sequestrate the carbon trap for your answer there. तो ये काम हम करेंगे, और ये मैं BHL के साथ कर रहा हूँ काम. So ऐसा नहीं है कि हम नहीं कर रहे हैं. हमारा पॉइंट है कि you be practical, don't talk extremes. If the West tells you green hydrogen, Don't take it as it is. You say, I don't know the color of hydrogen. Hydrogen is just green. Once it is hydrogen, it is usable as clean energy. So my source does not matter. Only thing is, I will not make grey hydrogen, जिसमें मैं carbon atmosphere फेंकूंगा. That is the only problem. So I hope I have answered you. So challenge is there big time in solar waste disposal. But I think people have woken up since last year. अभी करना शुरू किया, लेकिन I know that they have to work on a life extension program of solar panels. जो 25-year PPA खत्म हो गए, they will still continue to supply to grid. So government will have to make a policy of extending that PPA and extending those PPAs of those projects, continuing their life for another 10-15 years before they shift, and they have the land to do that work again. So I hope we have answered in this limited time whatever we can. Best of luck to all of you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening everyone. My name is Ashish Lakhani. I am from FabTech Mumbai. Yes. We are catering to oil and gas sector since long. Yeah. And we are till now working for a hydrocarbon sector and intend to move in a hydrogen sector. In hydrocarbon, we have all standardization done. Right. क्या design pressure है, क्या temperature है, कितना metric ton का इतना volume होगा. But in hydrogen, to be very honest, since last 2 years, we have supported more than 5 to 6 companies for design and supply of hydrogen bullets, hydrogen spheres, hydrogen vessels. But there is no proper standardization of what they want. Yeah. Whenever we seek any information, I don't know, they are not deliberately not sharing, or actually there is no standardization available. Like हम बताते हैं, you want to store this much of hydrogen, what will be the equivalent water capacity? What is the design pressure you want to store? What is the design code you want to go? What are the metallurgy? But 6 companies, they give us 6 different answers. Right. So if you see from a manufacturing point of view, certain sort of standardization is required. Unless and until, since even I visited ADPEC, there was a dedicated hydrogen pavilion for that. I visited so many exhibitors. All of them are just, I can see they are talking all fancy words, but actually implementation, actually standardization, what things they want, there is no thought clarity. So hydrogen, this word is sounding very good, but I don't know what standardization, how it will be implemented, all kind of things. I'll request REPA as a, renewable, you want to get into this, please get some standardization which will help us and expedite what we are looking for future.
See, I'll tell you something from the solar side. When solar started, and even now, and I've been talking on standardizing solar photovoltaic design for a long time with MNRE. I don't think they have waken up. They have not involved properly. Abhi bhi, because suppose you're a developer. I'm not taking names. Suppose you're a developer. You come, you quote a tariff, let's say 2 rupees 92 paisa या 3 rupees में आप solar करना चाह रहे हैं. What is the control anybody will have when you are the responsible for operating the plant for 25 years? What rights do I have to tell you to use this or use X, Y, Z? So आप जो standardization की बात कर रहे हैं, जो पुराना time है, it will only lay a benchmark. It can't be a hard rule like in the past. Like we have now 70 gigawatt of solar. So what was the standardization of those? So there were some benchmarks which was developed by REPA. हमने कुछ benchmarks MNRE को दिए थे कि ये benchmark performance होगा, ये benchmark output होगा, ये material का benchmark होगा, ये फलाना. Those benchmarks में काम चल रहा है. BIS has no standards for solar. Now they wanting, but then that will be only for heating your water, and इस पे काम कर लेंगे. 3-star, 4-star refrigerator कर लेंगे, पंखा बना देंगे. लेकिन to develop large capacity project, you must allow enough play in the technology perspective. But technology is not a compartmentalized business. I come from a hardcore engineering time. I'm a NIT Kurukshetra alumnus. I've done engineering. I say, don't discuss too much engineering. See a play of 20%. Kyunki I'll tell you the Greenco plant which I was discussing some time back. It is using 1000 megawatt, already operating 1000 megawatt of solar in the park. And they have done everything very differently from the rest. And how they are getting output is a trade secret. But I know what they have done. Today, you can't get an efficiency of 29% from solar system, but they are getting it because they have done something with the inverters. I can't discuss right now immediately, but मैं बताऊंगा आपको क्या किया. So basically, वो आप जैसे जाओगे ना, जो developer है वो बताएगा, क्योंकि developer will be technology, और वो इसलिए बनाएगा क्योंकि उसको बिजली रेगुलर देनी है. उसका पैसा तब होगा जब वो 100% जो capacity contracted है in the PPA, वो जब डालेगा ग्रिड में तो उसको फुल पैसे मिलेंगे. उससे कम जाएगा, उसकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इफेक्ट होती है. तो ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं which it is not only standardization, it is also that allowing people to improve and go to their tech. The problem with my system is it says आप इससे ऊपर नहीं लगा सकते. That means when you standardize the soul, आप lowest denomination में उसको standardize करेंगे. I'm not against standardization. I'm saying be careful about the word standardization. It doesn't allow you to bring new tech or advanced tech or improvement. For example, PERC. Some people are using PERC channel panels, others are not using. और tariff दोनों की same है. ये PERC वाला खुद क्यों डाल रहा है? But that fellow is a forward-looking businessman. उसकी profitability long run में उसकी बन रही है, क्योंकि efficiency बढ़ा ली उसने. Same space पे उसने area आप 5 एकड़ पर मेगावाट यूज़ कर रहे हैं, वो 4 का यूज़ कर रहा है. So we are not seeing all these things. ये अभी इसको कैसे स्टैंडर्डाइज करोगे? आप 4 में लगाओगे, आप 5 एकड़ ही लोगे, तो आप अपर लिमिट लोगे कि 5 acre per megawatt for solar. Why I gave you this example of solar industry? There was no standardization. It's just arriving to some extent. But careful part is a developer, if he comes, he will not give you the project if you put up benchmarks saying कि आप ये कह सकते हैं मिनिमम ये होनी चाहिए. आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि वो हायर एफिशिएंसी का पैनल, अब वो हायर एफिशिएंसी का लगाएगा तो आप उसको इंसेंटिव नहीं दे रहे हैं. ये प्रोडक्टिव लिंक इंसेंटिव की बात कर रहे हैं. लार्जेस्ट सोलर मैन्युफैक्चरर इंडिया रेन्यूसिस ने मना कर दिया, और वो अभी भी चाइनीज से टक्कर ले रहा है. वो मुंबई पातालंगा में गया, ही यूज द केमिकल प्लांट. उसने कहा हमें फ़ायदा इसका है, हमें फ़ायदा ही नहीं है पीएलसी अपना प्रोडक्शन लिंक इंसेंटिव का. सो गवर्नमेंट नीड्स टू सी ऑल दिस. व्हाई a big manufacturer with 4 gigawatt capacity has not used the production link incentive? What was the reason they rejected it and successful in Patalganga? So it is not कि everything is clean कि ये कर दिया तो हो गया. It is the two-way approach. The government, the industry, and the community that actually invests, which is the developer. Because EPC people don't invest. They actually make the project. But it is the developer who invests. So you cannot tell Adani कि अब तुमने ये लगाना है, हमने ये तुमको, मतलब we are blocking you. अगर आप उसको कह रहे हो तो सबको कह दो, टेंडर में कह दो कि ये कंडीशन फुलफिल होंगे तो ही तुम लगा सकते हो. अब फिर आप टैरिफ की बात करोगे, बोलेगा ठीक है ये लगाएंगे हम, ये फिर सारे आएंगे ना लॉबी बना के कि अब हम 2.5 रुपये में पावर नहीं देंगे, हम 4 रुपये में देंगे. सो ये स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन के कुछ डिफिकल्टीज भी हैं. इट्स अ वेरी 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 लॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट. आई हैव सीन दिस फॉर माई लाइफ. नहीं हुआ है, मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ लिमिटेड होता है. मैं बेंचमार्क्स नहीं, वो भी आएगा आपको बता रहा हूँ, वो भी आएगा इसी तरह से. इट्स अ डेवलपिंग स्टेज. देखो हम तो कर रहे हैं, वी आर वर्किंग. नहीं, आई एम वर्किंग ऑन इट, आई विल अश्योर यू आई एम वर्किंग ऑन इट. बट आई एम जस्ट वार्निंग वन सिग्नल. देयर इज कैनॉट बी अ ब्लैटेंट स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन. देयर कैन बी अ जनरल कैपेसिटी. आप बोले इससे अच्छा आप देंगे तो आप इंसेंटिवाइज भी करो. कोई अगर बेटर एफिशिएंसी लगाए तो इंसेंटिवाइज करो. सो दिस इज वेरी लॉन्ग टॉपिक, बट कंट्री नीड्स स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन, नो डाउट, बट नॉट compartmentalized, rigidized stuff. Then you are done. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much for your presence and your wisdom. Thank you for the blessings. See you. That's all. This function is yours. In honor of you.
SDIP और SDIP यूएस जो होते हैं एजेंसी के ये लेकिन अब क्रेडिट में वो कैप्चर काटती तो
लेता है ना लैपटॉप